skies and well-worn path. Oh yeah, I need a clown to cover up my escape. The clock is an unforgiving warning who watches as I'm off mistaken. Is it deep enough to risk it? Am I too broken?
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to beautiful downtown Brantford, Ontario in the Arnold Anderson Stadium on a beautiful shirt sleeve day in July for some Canadian Baseball League action featuring your hometown Brantford Red Sox and the visiting Kitchener Panthers. It's an exciting day, more for anything else, I guess, than no smoke, no rain, no ridiculous heat. We've just got a nice baseball day. I'm here as your lead commentator, and with me, as always, my partner, Marshall Crocker Jr., who is doing double duty today. So we'll still hear from him on the mic, and he's also going to be running the production as well. So welcome, Marshall.
Welcome in, Brian. Yeah, always a pleasure. I usually do it on the other side of the little wall there, but today I'm doing double duty today, directing, calling the game. I get to join you alongside me, and this would be a heck of a more interesting afternoon if I didn't have the best in the business running the show for me on the mic today. So should be a fun one. We always get a good game between Kitchener and Brantford. When we play it in Kitchener, we get a football score. When we play in Brantford, we got a 4-3 earlier this year victory for the Red Sox. So we'll see which version of those two teams we get, but we know very well, Brian, these two offenses can square off with the best of them. I think we're going to be in for a good show. The question is, are our two starters going to be up to the task?
Well, I tell you what, runs are up all over the CBL this year, over last year, over a run per game more than last season. And so, you just never know what you're going to get in this league, that's for sure. So we're going to take a little bit of a break and do our national anthem and be right back with the starting lineups. Okay, folks, and welcome back. We are ready to get the game underway. The umpires have had their meeting, and the lineups are in. And today's starting pitcher, Connor Irvine, for the Brantford Red Sox, is starting his warm-up. First, we're going to give you the pitching matchup there. And you can see on your screen Connor Irvine, who has hit a little bit of a rough spot. He was sort of the de facto ace for this team last season. But he's struggled earlier on with a little bit of lethargy in that shoulder. He's starting to get it going again. He just had a bit of a problem last time out. This is the exact kind of situation that he needs there, a nice, clear, sunny day where he's able to do his job and work hard and go up against a batting order that can cause a pitcher relative amounts of problems. And what we're seeing now for the Kitchener Panthers, Dionis Rodriguez, who is starting his second game of the season. Last time out, 3 innings. He got the win in relief, I believe, actually 2 strikeouts and 2 walks for that. And so Connor Irvine looking to get back on track as they officially enter the second half of the season. It's a 48-game schedule, and this is game number 25 for the Brantford Red Sox. So this is the double take, the start of part 2. It's go time for Brantford. They are roughly 6 games out of a playoff spot behind the Guelph Royals. And it's time to start stringing some wins together. And what's going to be really important for this team, Marshall, is for them to start stringing wins together against fellow non-playoff teams.
100%. This is the 6-7 matchup right now in the Canadian Baseball League, and these teams are trying to chase down currently the Guelph Royals, but we've been talking about it since before the All-Star break, Brian. It's really not clear yet who is going to drop below that playoff cutoff line. None of those teams above in the top 5 really show signs of slowing down, but if any are going to, you want to be the team to take advantage. Brantford and Kitchener both back over 5 games to the teams ahead. They need to beat each other before they can beat the elite squads. Today is going to be a huge game for both these teams to try to chase a top 5 position.
Absolutely. So we're ready to get underway here. Real quick, the Kitchener batting lineup. Yasvani Panalve, the center fielder, up first. Petey Kiefer at short. Malik Williams, the DH, and Junior Ibarra batting in the 4-hole, catching. 5-hole is Zane Scansey at second base. Trent Lawson at first base. Matt Fabian, former Brantford Red Sox player and junior player, at third base. Rafi Gross out in right field, and the speedster Jamie Cabral out in left. So the first pitch is a strike by Connor Irvine. The second pitch comes in, and it is nubbed softly into left field, and it's going to drop in for a base hit.
First of the day there for the Kitchener Panthers. Yeah, just a bit of a back of the bat over the head of the infield, just that weird gap out there in left. Panalve going to kick it off, first hit of the day, and they usually don't take long here against Kitchener when you play these two squads.
Well, and Jacob Cantor playing Panalver up the middle like he was going to pull the ball, and then good pitch by Connor Irvine got him up and in and got soft contact, but just happened, as the old saying goes, hit it where we ain't. So nobody out. Panalver at first is a threat to steal. Good runner. Here's the pitch. Catches the outside corner for strike 1. Connor Irvine, if you haven't seen him pitch, he gets a good mix in there of the 4-seam fastball. He throws a cutter, a slider, and a pretty good changeup as well. The cutter is probably his bread and butter to get soft contact. There's a line drive out into right field. Brody Black camping under it. Makes the catch. No tag at first. Ball comes back in. Nice play by Black, and there's one away. So now striding to the plate is a very intimidating figure in Malik Williams, the designated hitter for Pittsburgh. When you're on the field and stand beside some of these guys, some of them make a bigger impression on others. Leandro Mejia is one that comes to mind, who's 6'8" and about 245 pounds. Malik Williams is another one. This guy is thick as a brick. He's like a 6'4" bar fridge, man. He is so strong. And if he ties into one, boy, we're going to have to put a stopwatch on it for it to come down. Here's the first pitch. Nice cutter on the outside for strike 1. Panalver taking a fairly conservative lead out at first base. Being held on by Brantford All-Star Christian Ortega. We'll get to the Brantford defense as soon as we get a moment. Runner bluffs. Changeup comes in at 0-2. Malik Williams is not pleased with it. Quickly around in the outfield defense for Brantford. Christian Kuzemka out in left field instead of Nick Einentone today. Center field, Walker Hultgren. And in right field, as always, Brody Black. So now 0-2 to Williams. Line drive up the middle and just turning over into right center field. Picked up by Hultgren. Panalver rounds second and heads for third. Throw comes back into second, and it is a line drive base hit on 0-2 for Malik Williams. Unfortunately, a bit of a mistake pitch there at 0-2. Caught too much of the plate. So we'll get to the infield defense for Brantford, and it is Tim Holick out at third base. Jacob Cantor back in his regular spot at short. Lucas Bateman out at second base. And as the aforementioned All-Star Christian Ortega over at first behind the plate today, Andrew Savage. Cassidy Watt is nursing a bit of a bump and a bruise and should be good to go for next game out. Might be available off the bench for a pinch hit. So here is a good friend of mine, Junior Ibarra. Pitches inside. He's Kitchener's catcher, and he's one of the best defensive catchers in all the league and can be a very dangerous hitter. He doesn't hit for a high average, but he has a knack for bringing in RBIs. So one out. Runners on the corners and a pop-up. Short center field. Hultgren's going to have to hurry to get underneath that one. And he does. Makes the catch, and the good news for Brantford is that it brought him in so far. Panalver was unable to tag up and try going home. Great pitch there. Got it off the end of the bat. Took a little bit off it and pulled the string. And you can see a full bevy of pitches from Connor Irvin early on, Marshall.
Yeah, he's really trying to put it in each different spot, and really you can tell you're going to get in a Connor Irvin, quality start, not in the conventional term, but just a good start right out of the gates. If he can put that fastball exactly where he wants it, he doesn't always try to hit the zone with his off-speed stuff, but we always talk about it, changing eye levels, building legitimacy in your core pitches. The game against Kitchener in Kitchener that he allowed the 11 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings, he didn't even have the fastball in as a consistent placement. Today, he looks like he's off to a good start placing it.
Absolutely. So 2 away now. Runner still in the corners. Malik Williams not really a threat to run. If they do run him, it'll be more of a strategic double steal situation. Ground ball to the shortstop. Cantor picks it up, lobs over to second base to Bateman, gets a third out, and that's the end of the top of the first. So 2 hits, 2 left on, no runs, and we go to the bottom of the first inning, still no score.
Yeah, very strong start there for the Brantford defense, just executing properly. Brody there on the initial hit, or the initial almost would have brought a run in at the beginning of the inning. Did a good job settling it down, and like we said, Connor Irvin looks like he's establishing his stuff well. Not a ton of strong contact, even that first hit, just kind of a light blooper right into left field. A good start, and really when you play a game between these two teams that one point put up 37 combined runs in a game this year, you just like to see a scoreless half inning to open the game, Brian.
Well, absolutely, and that's, the biggest problem with Brantford's situation this summer with their 8-16 record is the fact that they've been chasing the game a lot early on in the innings. And so it's nice to get a first inning donut up there and give the bats a chance to try and score first. So we're getting our first look at Dionis Rodriguez. Again, he's only thrown 3 innings in the season. And so we're going to get a good look at him. We'll have a look. He throws hard. Looks like he's got a lot of live action on that 2-seam fastball of his. And so we'll go through the Brantford batting order, and not a lot of surprises in today's. Just a small change out in left field, as I mentioned. Jacob Cantor batting first, playing short. Brody Black in his 2-hole in right field. Christian Ortega batting third, playing first base. Tim Holick back at third base there. Nice to see him healthy again after the hip issue that he had. He's at third base. Andrew Savage, as I mentioned, catching in place of Cassidy Watt today. Christian Kuzenka, as his nickname around here is Bingo, because we think we're going to get him into all 9 defensive positions before the end of the season. He's out in left field in the 6-hole. Nick Einentone, who quite often plays left field for this team, is DHing today, taking the day off of the field. In the 7th hole, and in the 8th hole is center fielder Walker Hultgren, and in the 9th hole is second baseman Lucas Bateman. So here we go, bottom of the first inning. Just got a rogue baseball flying across the field from the defense there. Need somebody to go and pick that up on the first base side. And Jacob Cantor will settle in for his first at bat. Now, it should be noted that like a lot of teams, the Brantford Red Sox have not played much this week. I don't think the Panthers have played at all this week. The Brantford Red Sox had a remake game on Tuesday against the London Majors. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. And a fastball comes in, strike 1 on Jacob Cantor.
Yeah, these teams, of course, supposed to play on Thursday in that game that got postponed due to the smoke alerts there in Kitchener.
Which, if memory serves, ironically, is a game that was rescheduled from the first postponement. So
multiple layers now.
That's one of those cursed games that just doesn't want to be played. Nice pitch there on a slider, and it's 0-2 on Cantor. Good velocity from Rodriguez. Pulled that a little bit, glove side, outside. It's a good strategically located pitch. Now maybe they want to come back in, bust him in, and see if they can get some soft contact out of Jacob Cantor. Good take there on a slider low, and the count moves to 2-2. Again, a beautiful day here. There's not much breeze blowing. You don't see much movement out of the trees. The flag out in center field is dead still. That's not a rarity here with all the mature trees, but what is a rarity is that you don't see any trees moving up at the top there. 2-2 pitch is also low, 3-2. And once again, Jacob Cantor generates a good at-bat here. He really runs the full gamut on at-bats. He can jump on the first pitch. He can also be a very patient hitter and force long at-bats. So pitch number 6 of this at bat on a 3-2 count. Inside, nice take there. Jumps out of the way and takes a base on balls. And the Brantford Red Sox have their first base runner, which is going to bring to the plate right fielder, number 4, Brody Black.
Man,
Brody
what
Black
a
is
trio.
not what you would call a traditional 2-hole hitter. He is a very good RBI guy. He doesn't hit for a high average, but he is very good at bringing runs in. Some guys just have a knack for bringing guys in off the bases, even though they don't have a really big batting average, although he does have a very respectable batting average in the high 200s. Little bit up on the fastball. So we've seen a 4-seamer, bit of a cutter, slider down. Don't think we've seen a changeup yet from Rodriguez.
See if we see one here on 1-0.
Runner. Strike, but unfortunately in the transfer, Junior Ibarra, generally a very dependable guy to throw out base runners, just had the ball slip out of his hand on the transfer, which makes for an easy stolen base for Jacob Cantor. And that is something that we've noticed in the last few weeks, isn't it, Marshall? A lot more aggressive approach on the bases these days.
Way more aggressive, the entire team. Is that one well inside on the hands? Another ball on the inside from Rodriguez. But yeah, the entire Brantford Red Sox squad, I think they heard us early in the season when we talked about the split between the Red Sox preventing stolen bases and going for ones of their own. Jacob Cantor trying to carry the team on his back in that regard, but we've also seen guys like Watt and Black get more aggressive on the bases too.
2-1 pitch. Up and in for ball 3. That had something that looked like it was a little bit off speed. So 3-1 now. This is the kind of pitch Brody Black is probably going to sit dead right on a fastball. Probably got a location that he wants to jump all over this one. Takes a rip at it, but it rode in on him, jammed him, in on the hands, fouled off to the first base side, and the count will run to 3-2. One thing I've known about my friend Junior Ibarra, he certainly handles pitchers very well. He gets to know them very closely, knows what they throw, knows what they like to throw in certain counts, and has a knack for picking the right pitch to throw. The other thing that is also dangerous with Junior Ibarra is that he is the master of the back pick. If you get straying too far off the base, you have to be on your toes because he's liable to throw behind you. And a pitch right on the outside corner. Nice fastball there. Brody Black was not happy with the call. Strike 3 called, and we have one away, which will bring to the plate for his first at bat another of Brantford's 5 All-Stars, Christian Ortega, last year's RBI champion, who's having a very good season this year and has really been seeing the ball well the last couple of weeks. So 1 out, Cantor still out at second base. Important to move the runner along here to get a chance to score this run. There's the slider from Rodriguez. Nice pitch there. Gets Ortega out in front, and it's strike 1.
Yeah, with the hot week he had last week, Chris Ortega now OPSing over 1,000 for the first time this season. Not the first time as a Red Sox, though. Remember how red hot he was last year, particularly the beginning of the year. He's finding his form later in the season this time around.
Just when they need him. The hotter the games get, the hotter he does. Good take there. Pitch down low. Count moves to 1-1. Cantor with a conservative lead out at second. Outfield plays Ortega straight away. Although very deep in left field as they should be for respecting the huge power of Ortega. Bluff out at second. Pitches in and fouled off behind the plate. Count runs to 1-2.
Yeah, Tim Holick up behind him here. We've talked a lot about lately the power, and not just the power in the traditional sense, but the sheer production of the middle of this Red Sox offense here today. Every time they play Kitchener, it feels like this middle of the order, these big power bats, they do what they got to do, especially at Jack Couch Park, but we saw some good offensive production there as well in the 4-3 win here in Brantford earlier this year.
Nice take there on a slider outside. Count moves to 2-2. I agree with you 100%, Marshall. You've got Ortega, who has been super hot, player of the week a couple of weeks ago. Tim Holick, who has been red hot over the last probably 6 or 7 weeks. And, of course, Andrew Savage, who's been flirting with 400 all season long. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Nice pitch inside, really good location there. Tied up Ortega and gets the swinging strike for the second out of the inning. And coming up now for his first at bat, third baseman Tim Holick, who has been really, as we mentioned, has been really hot lately. So the unfortunate thing there is that you had a runner out at second and nobody out, 2 straight strikeouts. So really good adjustment by Rodriguez to get strikeouts to keep that runner at second base. Scansey is close, trying to keep Cantor close. The outfield is playing deep and will have a difficult time throwing Cantor out at the plate, so they're trying to keep him as close as they can.
And remember here for Tim Holick, this is just his second game back from injury. Remember, he was out from July 3rd all the way to the 14th just a couple days ago on Tuesday. Didn't get a hit in his first game back, playing on third base defensively. Didn't take a DH day on his return. Had 2 walks, no hits, and a strikeout. So very patient at the plate on Tuesday. We'll see if he's a little bit more aggressive here.
Well, that and the fact that with the 2 smoke days off, he's also had 5 days off in between games, which is exactly what his body needed, more rest. So we'll see how he looks today. 1-0 pitch. Slider in for a strike. Nice pitch there. Been pretty impressed by what I'm seeing out of Rodriguez thus far. Holick, a very cerebral hitter, mechanically inclined, likes to look a lot at what he's doing at the plate and analyze it. Here comes the pitch, lined up the middle, and it will get down in front of Panover, and Cantor races around third, will score early, and that is a clutch RBI single with 2 outs by one of the best hitters in this league, Tim Holick. Nice pitch there, a nice hit there on a pitch that caught a little bit too much of the plate with 2 strikes. Tried a slider, but Holick was expecting it and drove it into center field in front of Panover.
He was indeed. We talked about the patience. We talked about it. We barely saw any swings from him on Tuesday. It looks like he was just waiting for the right one. He'd got that location up high a couple of times there in that at bat. Waited to time it up. Waited till he could get the right part of the bat. You heard the nice crisp sound as he struck that one. Puts it over the infield. There you go. Brantford kicks off the scoring.
So Savage comes to the plate with 2 out now. The catcher. As we mentioned, he's been flirting with 400. He's another all-star. That's the nice thing about this Brantford lineup. 3 straight all-stars at 3, 4, and 5, Ortega, Holick, and Savage. And Savage, I believe, is down a little bit below 300 now, or 400 now, but has flirted with it all season. Nice slider there, or cutter, whatever he wants to call that. Hard. It's a hard slider, which kind of looks more like a cutter to me than a slider. But a good pitch nonetheless on the outside part of the plate. Runs the count to 1-1. Holick with a very conservative lead. Now maybe an extra step. And the pitch. Line down the line and just foul.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Savage, it is down to 351, the batting average, but I think he's picked up his production when it comes to RBIs and, the all-important being clutch factor. The clutch factor, I think, has gotten better through the year. Just the consistent hitting production at the plate, it has dropped off. And the man he passed the designated batting average title to, Malik Williams, playing on the other side.
Line drive through the hole on the left side and a base hit. Out to Cabral in left field, fields it and throws it back in. And a 2-out single for Andrew Savage. Puts runners at first and second with 2 out. And Bingo Kuzenka comes up to the plate for his first at bat. A solid 289 average, as you can see. 11 hits through a so far truncated season. Showed up later in the year. He's played, I think, 5 different defensive positions this season so far. Hoping to fill out my bingo card, see what's next on his agenda. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1.
Yeah, versatility, the name of his game today. He is the man out in left field today, subbing in for Nick Antone, who's going to be today's designated hitter. And, yeah, that versatility, we've talked about how important he's been on defense, but he started to pick up form with the bat the longer he spends time in Brantford.
The 1 strike pitch is inside, 1-1. I noticed Tim Holick out there trying to get a really aggressive secondary lead. Again, that's something you have to be careful of with Junior Ibarra behind the plate because he loves to throw behind runners. You may notice a very unique, well, not unique, but very rare signal system with Junior, using hand signals instead of the fingers with runners on second base and line down the third base line, a fair ball. And that's going to go all the way to the wall, and Holick will score easy. Into third comes Kuzemka, runs into second base, and it's a stand-up double and an RBI, and more clutch two-out hitting by this increasingly dangerous Brantford hitting lineup.
Clutch is right. My goodness, they've picked up the tempo here. Cantor let it off with the walk. We weren't sure if anybody would quite have the prowess with the stick here in the first inning, but after the back-to-back strikeouts by Rodriguez, hasn't necessarily lost his stuff, hasn't lost his command. He's just looking hittable to these middle-of-the-order bats, and now the question is these guys at the bottom. We often talk about it, Brian. Usually Cassidy Watt hits in the 7, and then it's a rotation of usually 2 of the defensive infielders in the 8-9. Today going to be very important for the rest of the guys, for Holmgren, for Ian Antone, and Bateman at the bottom of the order. Keep this momentum going. Just because 2 outs are on the board doesn't mean you have an out to give up your offensive production. You don't have an excuse just because you don't have much room for error.
Well, I agree 100%. It's a really well-made point. And here's the thing is that you've got this guy up here in the 7 hole, Nick Ian Antone, who has been batting well over 300 all season long. And we know that there is no velo that occurs in this league that he can't get around on. So another dangerous hitter to deal with here with 2 runners in scoring position. First pitch in there, nicely for a strike. Ian Antone, a very patient hitter, has no problems whatsoever taking a walk and passing the baton to the next guy in the lineup. And in this case, a very rare situation I've noticed for Brantford, back-to-back left-handed hitters. Tailing fastball is outside for 1-1. And when you usually get only 2 left-handed hitters in this Brantford lineup, it's rare indeed where they come in back-to-back. So here's Ian Antone. Obviously his first look at Rodriguez. Hoping for a fastball because he matches cheese, and he pops that up. Out near second base. Kiefer takes charge, makes the catch for the 3rd out. So they score 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and left 2 on base. And at the end of 1 inning, it is 2-0 Brantford, and we'll be back right after this commercial break. Don't y'all go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back for the top of the 2nd inning. 2-0 Brantford after 1. And after the fielder's choice in the first inning on Saints Cancy ended the inning, first baseman Trent Lawson will lead it off for the Kitchener Panthers. And we'll also see former Red Sox player Matt Fabian And the two speedsters at the bottom of the order, Rafi Gross and Jamie Cabral, will get up if one of those three can get on base. First pitch is a little bit outside for ball one. Nice pitch there, catches the low outside corner. Lawson tends to split time a little bit with the other Williams on this team, Josh Williams. A solid first baseman, good athlete, good bat. Nice pitch there, catches the outside corner, 1-2.
Yeah, those watching us from Kitchener might recognize my voice. I've done some games calling at home for the Kitchener Panthers at Jack Couch Park there. Trent Lawson often plays first base in my games. I love the range he has, and quite a productive bat as well.
And a little lobber, short right field. Brody Black ambles in, settles underneath, and there is one out.
Next up, it's the man coming over not just from Toronto, but a former Brantford Red Sox. Spent 2 seasons here in 2023-24. Matt Fabian, the man who played for his hometown team in Toronto earlier this season. Now playing his third game as a Kitchener Panther, looking for his second hit and third run respectively, although he's already got 3 walks and only 6 plate appearances.
Well, there's the curveball, just misses up. I tell you what, I got to know this kid pretty good in 23 when I was coaching third base for the Panthers, and he was playing with Brantford. And good fastball there for a swing and a miss, 1-1. And, you know, one thing about this league, when you coach either first or third base, you get to know some people, third basemen and umpires and what have you. And Matt's a sharp young guy, very smart. Lines it out to shortstop, right to Jacob Cantor, positioned perfectly, and we have 2 out. I can tell you what, do not look at Matt Fabian's current batting average. His BABIP is really low now, and he is a good stick and will hit again in this league very soon. I can promise you that. So 2 away now, and the speedster Rafi Gross comes up.
And he was looking great in warm-up. I actually got to see quite a bit of his BP here before the game. His velos off the bat were ridiculous into the outfield.
Yep.
Always good on the base pass. If he can keep that production up with the bat, might be the most dangerous player in this game.
Slider misses outside for ball 1. Red Sox are really looking for Connor Irvine to return to the form that he had last season. There's another slider. Fly ball, deep, going back to the fence. Hulkgren to get it, and gets it just shy of the warning track for the third out. Boy, he hung that slider, and Rafi Gross really tattooed it. But we all know that center field with Walker Hulkgren out there is where triples go to die. That's what they say. And so a nice play there by Hulkgren. 3 up and 3 down, and we head to the bottom of the second inning. Rodriguez comes out for his second inning of work, and we will see 8-9-1. Walker Hulkgren, the aforementioned, who just made that play to end the inning. Lucas Bateman, the second baseman, and back to the top of the order with Jacob Cantor. So we've got a busy day in the IBL. However, the first one doesn't start till 3 o'clock, and I think that they're staggered starts all day long. So as the games get going, when this one wears on, we will keep you up to speed on what's going on in other ballparks. But right now, I tell you what, folks, it's just such a joy to be out at the ballpark on it's 21, 22 degrees maybe, low humidity, a little bit of cloud in the sky. Just an absolutely gorgeous shirt sleeve day here at the ballpark. And after the intense heat and the smoke and all the rain we got yesterday, is it ever a joy just to get a nice sunny summer day today?
Yeah, just a balmy 26, and we talked about the cancellations all over the league. I think it's something like 15 combined games have been canceled in the past 5 days because, as I'm sure you know, the northwestern Ontario smoke coming down from the forest fires. A lot of games getting postponed, and it was quite dangerous Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm sure many of you went outside, saw the yellow sky, wondered what was going on. I talked about it earlier, though. There is the current standings in the Canadian Baseball League prior to all today's action. We showed you the games around the rest of the league there. Toronto, Barrie among the teams playing today. That's what we're looking at right now, and I talked about it, Brian. 4.5 games, the gap between Guelph in 5th, Kitchener in 6th, and then Brantford a game back there in the 7th spot. Both these teams really need today's win, but we talked about it before. You can't just get away with beating the bottom if you want to make the playoffs with how far the cut line is. You got to beat the top teams too, and Kitchener and Brantford have been able to do that this year.
Agreed, and really a winning streak is something that is needed by someone to try and put a scare into any one of those 5 teams at the bottom. Guelph lost last night to Toronto, 7-4, and so they're sitting in 5th place right now with 11 losses. And the first pitch is popped up to center field. Going over is Penalver. Makes the catch, can of corn. 1 pitch, 1 out. And Lucas Bateman will come to the plate.
Just want to answer something in the chat there. People are talking about there. Yes, originally the scoring did have Evan Elliott designated in Zane Scancy's position on defense. Don't worry, Evan Elliott is not playing second base today, although he's a great athlete, obviously an all-star there this season. If anybody can figure it out, I think Evan Elliott could do it.
I would think so. Good athlete. I mean, Scancy plays a pretty good second base, so I think I'd rather have him out there if I'm running the Kitchener Panthers.
Agreed.
Nice pitch there, catches the outside corner to Lucas Bateman for strike 1. Bateman, who started very slowly, I believe at 1 for 20 or 1 for 21, has dragged his average up closer to 300 now. And that's not easy to do once the season starts there. Good pitch, high, hard one for a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, he's up at 294 now for the year, almost batting back to 300. He's 50 points above where he hit last year, and he was already pretty productive offensively in 25. That speaks to the real comeback and the Red Sox new training facility, the impact that's having on player growth.
Line drive, kind of a off the end of the bat drive there, or in off the hands, went straight to the third baseman, Matt Fabian, and he comes up with it for the second out. So we head back to the top of the order. Jacob Cantor, who walked on 6 pitches in his last at bat, stole second, and eventually scored with 2 out on a clutch hit by Tim Holick.
Of course, walked and stole a base later his first time around. We'll see if he's got the same speed on the base path should he make it there.
So a good job by Rodriguez, who started off every pitcher this inning with a strike. Young kids often ask me, what's a good pitch to start with on a batter? And I always answer the same thing. I don't care what you throw. I don't care what your bread and butter is. I don't care what your best pitch is. The best pitch to throw any batter is strike 1. Get ahead, stay ahead is my motto. And that's what Rodriguez has been doing this inning, and thus far it has worked for him. Nice pitch inside, ground ball to second base, picked up by Scancy, over to Lawson at first for the third out. And the Red Sox are retired, nothing across, 3 up, 3 down. So we head to the top of the third inning, and the lead is 2-0 for the Brantford Red Sox. So, Marshall, we were talking about this off camera about the indoor and the physio that a lot of the Brantford Red Sox players have been treated to over the last 3 or 4 months. And so we have just noticed how to notice the players that are Jose Arias, whose velo looks really sharp, his slider looks increasingly sharp. Looking at guys who have been injured, we didn't expect Tim Holick back for another week, maybe 2 weeks, and yet here he is healthy again. You've been there a couple of times. Speak to us about what you know about this indoor area that makes it so special.
Well, I think one of the biggest things that is always important with a training space is access, is the ability for a player to come in and for there to be the requisite space to whatever you want to do. If you're in for a quick pump, in for a quick workout, you want to do training on the pitching gun, you want to do the full proper procedure. You can see the results of your pitches. They have a pitching gun. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. You can coordinate it to be the equivalent of pitches from real pitchers in terms of break, in terms of positioning, in terms of velocity. It's unbelievable the work that you can do, and the Brantford Red Sox, more than any team in the CBL, have some behind-the-scenes advanced metrics here installed at the park that you just get data to prepare in a game-accurate way that it reflects more than just conditioning, Brian, or more than just cardio. And there's 4 of these cages, 4 pitching guns. There's so much space. No player on the team can go to the practice facility and say, there wasn't enough space. I didn't have room. I couldn't get a chance to warm up. You don't have that excuse. This space is huge. It's in a giant warehouse. And if any of you ever get a chance to check it out on social media or in person, I really urge you to check out the Game Ready training facility. It is available for public use, and they do some training courses. Tim Holick, who we talked to on Red Sox Report, talked about the collegiate training he's doing with collegiate players at that facility. So makes sense, like you say, why guys like Jose are really taking the next step.
So we head to the top of the third inning, and Jamie Cabral leads it off, the 9-hole hitter in left field for the Kitchener Panthers, and Connor Irvine, as he has been wont to do in this game, starts him off with strike one. Just missed a little bit on the inside there, 1-1.
Inside on the hand's been really the choice spot against both righties, both sets of righties here between Rodriguez and Irvin. Rodriguez seems to be getting it more than Connor. Broken bat as that one's chopped to short.
Picked up by Bateman and beats the sliding Cabral to first base for the first out there. Nice job by Bateman to charge that ball. If he waits and lets it come to him, the speedy Cabral is going to beat that out.
Yeah, that one's sent to second base, pardon me. But yeah, quick throw in there in time. Cabral sent it all out. The puff of smoke you can actually see is still coming up there from the slide he had in there on first base. And now we turn back over to the top of the order. Penalve kicked it off with a hit. And from what we've seen this year between Brantford and Kitchener, we thought it'd be the first of many for the Panthers. Only one more for the roadside since then.
First pitch to him is up a little bit. And Irvin is another one who looks like he's really throwing hard today. Nice pitch there. Caught the outside of the plate at the belt. 1-1.
Yeah, Connor's a guy we always talk about, building legitimacy, defining that, okay, that fastball's legitimate. You got to take it seriously to try to catch up to it. Connor does that up there with the best of them as that one's popped over to third.
He's given Penalve a steady diet of fastballs, now 1 and 2, all three being hard stuff. And so you wonder if he's going to change it up. He threw one up and out to Penalve, and he knocked it out into left field in the first inning. Curveball, nice choice there, but he couldn't make it drop into the belt, and the count goes to 2-2.
I'll tell you, Panthers fans, you saw Connor Irvin pitch in that game earlier back in June. Again, 11 runs given up in 3 1/3. You did not see Connor Irvin. The fastball that is his bread and butter was not quite there that day, as that one's just barely fouled past the third base line.
Yeah, we saw him last week there, and he just didn't seem to quite have the velo that he normally does, but he certainly looks strong today. And the curveball is sharp, the cutter is sharp, and the fastball's got some zip on it. So another 2-2 pitch, and a fly ball out to left field. Camping underneath it is Kuzemka, makes the catch. Can of corn for Christian. And there are two away, bringing Petey Kiefer to the plate.
And Kiefer, one of the best in the league this year in RBIs. He spent most of the start of the season in the top 5. Of course, why he did get selected to the 2026 All-Star game. And Petey is, I think he's the only true, you could say, all-rounder here on this Panthers team. A lot of big power bats, slow runners, a lot of great runners, less capable at the plate. Not in, less than professional sense. All great players here in the Kitchener lineup. But Petey is the true combination of both. He can give you power, he's fast, and he just wants to put the ball in play to give his legs a chance.
Fouled off to the third base side, out of play, 1-1.
Lined out pretty deep into the right field area. That was the first catch of the day for Brody Black last time Kiefer was up in the first inning.
Fouled off again to the third base side, this time into the bullpen. Count goes to 1-2. And that is a testament, I think, to the velocity that Connor Irvine is getting out of that fastball, where a good hitter like Petey Kiefer is having a little bit of trouble squaring him up and getting around on him.
That one's up there a little bit high. Malik Williams now there on deck. Of course, early in the count there in his first at-bat up, he just puts a single in. I'm curious to see how Williams does there, Brian, catching up to this fastball, because that's his pitch of choice.
Well, even then, he hit a fastball last time up, but he hit it the opposite way, didn't he? And a broken bat, soft liner, lands in front of Bateman, picks it up, throws it over to first for the third out to Ortega. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row now retired by Connor Irvine as we head to the bottom of the third, and the score remains 2-0 Brantford.
Well, rare leadoff then for Malik Williams when he comes back there in the fourth inning. He'll kick it off there when next Kitchener comes back. I mean, what can you say about Connor Irvin so far here, Brian? We always talk about we want the literal quality start from these Brantford pitchers. Go 6 innings, throw less than three, or allow less than 3 runs. It hasn't happened often, more so because of the longevity. Connor is not only getting through these innings, only the 2 hits allowed in the first, but we always talk about a pace, less than 15 pitches an inning. Connor's at the mark right now, looking on my numbers, I believe 33 pitches it has taken him to get through those first 2 innings. So if he continues in that form, through 3. If he continues in that form, the hope is he can go 6. And for Brantford, you still got a couple more days off, but imagine what it could mean for this bullpen to have, what was it, last Tuesday, we just saw Craig and Porchelato, as Arias, pardon me. Those are the 3 relievers to come out of the bullpen. If you go a full, it'd be almost 2 weeks with the smoke delays and then the gap to Thursday. Imagine how many bullpen arms are going to be left in this Brantford team, and that is a commodity in the Canadian Baseball League right now. With all these newly postponed games, those are coming due. All those games that were rained out at the start of the season, we're playing them right now, and depth of bullpen and condition of your bullpen going to be a huge factor down the rest of the way.
Oh, it absolutely is. And the other nice thing, too, is when you look at Holden Craig, who has been, the issue on Tuesday night notwithstanding, has been fantastic for this team. A testament to being 3-1 record on a team that's 8-16. That speaks volumes in and of itself. Of course, you've got the other all-star that we haven't talked about, Jorge De La Cruz, coming out as their closer as well. And, of course, the one kid that I really want to talk about is Anthony Porchelato, who struggled with his control early on, but was absolutely overpowering against London on Tuesday night. And so when you get those 3, and, Kate Kozak has been good for them as well, they really are set up to have a good second half. It's just a matter of, piecing wins together.
Well, and again, that correlation between player improvement or getting back in form for Jose Arias back to his 2022 look, I think that, again, speaks to the training facility and the amount of hours these guys are putting in off the field.
Well, speaking of borderline unhittable, that's what Jose Arias was. He made one mistake against that London lineup, and they made him pay for it on an RBI double into the right center field gap. But other than that, they struck out 14 guys Tuesday night.
Ridiculous.
Nice pitch there, runs in on the hands of Brody Black, but he managed to get a piece of it, stays 1-2.
I said it before the game here today. Tuesday night, I think Jose Arias could have just thrown 50 straight sliders. I don't think any London major would have got a run off him. He just looked unhittable against his former squad.
Most of the guys weren't even swinging at them. They were just hoping that they'd get a fastball in the at-bat, and they didn't seem to care where the fastball was. They were hacking at it because they didn't want to stick around for a slider. Nice take there. Did he check his swing? Yes, he did. That was a really good take there on a strike-the-ball slider. 2-2 now. Brody Black struck out looking in his first at bat. Here's the 2-2. Runs it in on him again, and again Brody Black gets a piece. And Cassidy Watt, not in the lineup today, has taken up the coaching duties at third base.
And was the pregame catcher for the ceremonial first pitch. You're not going to get a better spot on a ceremonial first pitch than Cass. He's going to frame that bad boy like you wouldn't believe.
Good point.
Nobody throws a ceremonial first pitch ball with Cassidy Watt behind the plate.
Nobody blocks a ceremonial first pitch like Cass Watt.
Maybe Andrew Savage if you want to block.
Fair enough. Okay, so a slider on the inside now runs the count to 3-2. And it's another good at-bat by a Brantford Red Sox hitter, this being the 7th pitch of the at-bat. Ground ball out to short, fielded by Kiefer, throws on the run, Tulowitzki style, over to Lawson at first, and throws him out by a step. Nice play there by Petey Kiefer, and a nice pitch there on 3-2. But still, a good at-bat, what we call a quality at-bat, being a 7-pitch at bat, helping drive up the number. So here's Chris Ortega, and the numbers say it all, don't they? I mean, 343, 34 hits in 24 games, 22 RBIs, 7 home runs, which stand him up very close to the top 5 in the home run standings, and I believe the RBI standings as well. And as for those of you who don't know, he takes a ball down low. He is the defending RBI champion from the last year of the IBL.
Yes, indeed. He often starts the game out with a strikeout in the first inning. It's always his bounce back that tells you how he's going to be, and often it's a bounce back of 3 or 4 straight hits, hence the numbers.
Fly ball, medium short left center, 2 outfielders converging, and Cabral will make the catch, and there are 2 away.
Next up, here's Tim Holick. I talked about here earlier. He was on the second episode of Season 2 of Brantford Red Sox Report. If you're watching us on YouTube or CBL TV, you can find that. If you're watching on Rogers later, it's already come up on Rogers TV. He was such a great interview, was very well spoken, and the word we always use, Kitchener fans, if you've never seen Tim Holick, analytical. He is such an elite processor, such a great mind for the game. He coaches for a reason. He's just as good when he plays.
Yeah, if you're listening in the Brantford area and you've got a young person, boy or a girl, who likes to hit, he's a pretty good guy to bring your kid to. Will certainly help them out with their swing. Fastball catches the outside part, and it's 0-2. I got a check swing out of Holick, but I believe the pitch was called a strike. So it was a moot point on whether he went around or not.
So 6 outs in a row here for Rodriguez, looking for his 7th. We talked about he looked a little bit hittable. He looked a little bit low on the velo. He's picked it up. He's found his stuff here in the 3rd.
He certainly does throw hard, doesn't he? 0-2 pitch, ground ball to short again. Fielded cleanly by Keeper, plants a foot, throws across to Lawson. And it is 3 up, 3 down for the Red Sox, and we head to the 4th inning. And we will take a short break and be right back on the other side to bring you the top of the 4th inning. Don't you go anywhere.
Go ahead.
And welcome back to the top of the 4th inning here at beautiful Arnold Anderson Park in downtown Brantford, Ontario. For those of you who are along for the ride, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And up to plate now is Big Malik Williams. It's tough to say Malik Williams without throwing that word in there for Big Malik Williams. Like I say, I've talked ad infinitum about how big that dude is. He fouled off the first pitch, and here's the 0-1. Comes back in on a slider or a cutter and fouls it off back to the plate. Might have caught a piece of Savage on the way by, but he seems none the worse for wear. So Connor Irvin has been very efficient and has retired 8 straight now, and so kind of got himself into a nice little groove, and we'll see if he can continue that through the 4th inning. 0-2 pitch. Good spot there, just out and down, trying to get Malik to expand his strike zone to no avail. Malik's a veteran and a very good hitter, and for a big guy, has a very good eye at the plate for a guy who swings as hard as he does. Nice pitch there that caught him up on the hands. Fouled straight back over our heads, and the count remains 1-2. I got to tell you, Marshall, I've been forced to park over on the first base side.
Oh,
and
no.
It's stuck in my brain there.
You're on
I'm a little
borrowed
worried
time.
about it. So one of these times, 1-2 pitches up high, 2-2. One of these times, if we go on a commercial break and the game on the smaller diamond gets done, I might have to get over there because I don't think it's in the Red Sox budget to buy me a new windshield. 2-2 pitch. Just missed outside and low. Nice take there by Malik. And runs the count to 3-2, and comes up and has a quality at bat. He seems to be seeing Connor Irvin very well. He lined the ball up the middle between the pitcher and the second baseman first at bat. And another pitch that's just down, and he draws a walk, which brings up the catcher, the veteran, Junior Ibarra.
One of the best, and you could say potentially could be an oversight in his game, but one of the things about Malik Williams I've noticed, he never really gets that aggressive swinging in spots he knows just aren't his place. He knows he doesn't make good contact, particularly low and away. He often just lets stuff go by, and at bats like that, those guts he takes are often why he can be so effective getting on base with the free pass. If you can get a free pass, Brian, and you're a guy that can hit the baseball as hard as he can, there's not many things scarier than a pitcher than something almost akin to Barry Bonds light.
Yeah, when he won't bite at your junk, a guy, a ground ball up the middle, a possible double play ball, fielded by Cantor, gets to second for one, over to first for the double play. Nice turn there by Lucas Bateman. A tough play for Cantor. He's going to run in past second base, stop, turn, and lob it back to Bateman at second, but Bateman had a great turn there and got it over with a good strong throw to Ortega to get the double play. And that's the one thing about Junior Ibarra, is that he is susceptible to that double play. And so
Zane
we have
Scansey.
2 quick outs.
Scansey now going to be the man up here. One of the fastest on the team. His only issue can sometimes be the discipline, but he is I think I compared it to cupboard moths the other day. You don't want to let him get on the base paths.
Ground ball. Picked up nicely by Holik. Throws on the run. And Ortega sticks to the base long enough to record the out. Good play on both ends there. Holik came charging in, got the short hop, picked it up clean. Good transfer to the throwing arm. Throws on the run. And Ortega, with those long legs, was able to hang on to first base long enough to make the squeeze and get that third out at first base. Good defense there by all 4 of Brantford's infielders. Nice play by Cantor, nice turn by Bateman, nice pick by Holik, and a nice stretch by Ortega. And that's what you're going to need in this league, and that's what you're going to need if you want to make a run to get back into playoffs. Not only do you need the good pitching and the good hitting, you got to play good defense as well, Marshall.
Yeah, most certainly. And it's one of those things that often gets overlooked in those nice plays at first base, particularly quick plays at the hot corner by the third baseman. Zane Scansey, the former West Coast Baseball League MVP, or Rookie of the Year, pardon me, you do not get faster on the base path, specifically that first step, dropping the bat off the hit, getting to first base. The margins and the player you do it against are what really make great defensive plays. When you have no room for error, when you have no margin, that's when you got to come up big. And Tim Holick, good to see Brian's second game back on defense. We weren't sure, okay, what version of Tim Holick are we getting after that injury rehab? I think we're at, or if not, perfectly sitting back at 100% with him on defense.
Well, I tell you what, like I said, those two smoke days off, he got back for his first game in a couple of weeks there on Tuesday. And not only did he get in on the game, but he also got 4 days off afterwards to rest and recover to see how he was going to react. And it worked out real well for him. So I agree. I mean, when Tim Holick is 100%, he's one of the better players in this league.
And we will see him in a little while on offense. We've passed his spot. He ended the third. Let's get started with the fourth. Here is Andrew Savage, all-star starting catcher. And he's catching today. Cassidy Watt, like we said, not in the rotation on defense or offense. So here is the man formerly hitting up above 450 on the season, now at 350.
Singled last time up through the hole on the left side. Swings at the first pitch, a slider, and it's 0-1. So there's some of those times where you come up to the at-bat and you just say, I'm hacking at that first pitch if it's close, and good timing by Rodriguez to get one off the plate with the slider. 0-1 pitch. Fastball in for strike 2. Certainly Savage thinking there that maybe he was going to come back with that same pitch. If his desires were in reverse, he would have been able to go hack at that fastball. 0-2 pitch now. And fouled off of the head of Junior Ibarra. And one of the other things I could tell you about working with Junior for a year is that he got hit by an untold number of pitches. And what little Spanish that I know, I would yell out to him, "Está bien," which is kind of Spanish for "Are you okay?" And he just always gives me the thumb up. It didn't matter where he got hit, how hard he got hit, or how often he got hit. He always would give me a thumbs up. "Está bien, amigo."
Catchers are the daredevils of baseball, aren't they?
Oh, man, they are some tough, tough dudes. And we've got a bunch of them in this league. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fastball up. Nice pitch there. Strike 3, swing and a miss, and we've got 1 out. Bringing to the plate, Christian Kuzemka, the left fielder.
Yeah, third K of the day there for Rodriguez. Here's Kuzemka. Now, Brian, we talked about it earlier. Kuzemka's still wearing a blue helmet. At a certain point, I wonder is this a personal style fashion choice? Is this a trend? Or is this due to demand? I'm getting word it is a fashion choice. It's a personal decision. So, love seeing a guy put his own stamp on his uniform.
And a line drive over the shortstop's head and into left field. And Kuzemka may as well stick with that blue helmet. He's 2 for 2. And climbing his batting average up to toward 300. So, you know what I have found over the years? It's funny, I was just down in Kitchener watching the 22U elimination tournament, and a kid that I used to coach with the Mid-Ontario Bearcats all the way back to 2022, playing for the Kitchener Panthers, still wearing his Bearcat helmet in 22U. So when you have a helmet and you like that helmet, some guys just stick with that helmet. And
if it ain't broke.
We've talked about hitting kind of superstitions in the past. Some guys, we've said it before. If you believe that you're hitting because you're wearing a blue helmet or because you're wearing ladies' underwear, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are. If you think that's the reason you're hitting, then it is. Nice take there by Ian Tone. It's now 2-0. And we've mentioned before, Ian Tone, a very patient hitter. Kuzemka has a stolen base, but he doesn't run much. But Ian Tone is a really good hit and run candidate if they ever wanted to try something. Fly ball, shallow right field, in comes Gross. And the speedster gets underneath the ball. And there are now 2 away on the fly ball to left field.
Another piece of, pretty good contact there from Ian, and Tony had a pop-up earlier that just missed the barrel of the bat, but it was on the barrel. That one, too, you heard the crisp sound off the wood there. So Ian and Tone, Nick is one. He's always patient. He walks at a higher rate than anybody on the team, maybe percentage-wise anybody in the league. But when he decides to swing, he swings hard. It's kind of a miracle that I think it speaks to his discipline that he doesn't have more homers. But, man, if he gets lucky with the barrel a couple more times these next few weeks, he could be up at 5 home runs before you know it.
Well, we talked about BABIP earlier, and he's one whose BABIP is good, but he just doesn't seem to translate that into home runs. I remember watching him at Couch in the infamous 18-15 game, and they started a left-handed pitcher and still didn't throw him strikes. He walked the first 2 times up. Holmgren fouls one up down the left field line and out of play. Just over top of the bullpen, and the count is 1-1. So still 2 out here. Kuzemka at first. Again, Kuzemka does run well, but he doesn't run a lot. So with 2 out, tough to imagine that they get him going, but you just never know, as we mentioned earlier in this broadcast, that the Brantford Red Sox have been increasingly more aggressive on the base pass than they were at the start of the season.
As a team, for sure.
1-1 pitch, a fastball up at the belt, and an attempted pickoff. And again, if you're on the base paths with Junior Ibarra behind the plate, you had better be aware of your surroundings because he will throw anywhere, anytime, any count. So that runs the count to 1-2. And the 2-seam fastball just off the plate outside, 2-2. So Holmgren, who has not had any shyness about the start to his CBL career. He is a very patient hitter, but when he sees something he likes, he really likes to hack at it. We'll see how he does on the 2-2 pitch. Good take there on a pitch just up and out. It runs the count to 3-2. Now Kuzemka will be able to run with the pitch.
18 strikeouts, only 1 walk for Holmgren. It just doesn't feel right with how patient he is, but often when he gets a pitch he likes, he doesn't let it go by. He swings at it. He knows what he wants, and sometimes pitchers can find a way to fool him. We'll see what he does here on 3-2.
Swinging a foul off in between the legs of the catcher, and we'll do it all over again.
There you see Kuzemka turning around there. He was ready to go on the hit and run. Kuzemka, to confirm your theory there, Brian, no career stolen bases as of yet in the Canadian Baseball League in his 2 seasons in this current iteration since he returned from his Red Sox tenure back earlier in the 2020s.
He sure does run well. And once again, we'll do the 3-2. Runner goes. Swing and a foul ball over to the left side. Will it make it out of play? Oh, great effort by Cabral, but unable to get it. I think that ball landed out of play anyways. Always interesting when you have an out-of-play line on a diamond that is chalked off. I've been in most diamonds in the province, and there aren't a lot of them left, really, that have an out-of-play line that is chalked off versus a fence. And they make for some interesting situations. It brings into what's called the catch and carry rule, where if you catch the ball in foul territory and record an out, if your momentum takes you over that chalked line, that's 1 base for all runners. So we'll do the 3-2 pitch again. Kuzemka will be off again. And ground ball over to the right side, fielded by Lawson, hands it off to the pitcher who gets onto there. Very nicely done pitcher fielding position situation for the 3rd out. So we had 1 hit and 1 left, no runs. And now, after 4 complete, we've got a 2-0 lead for the Brantford Red Sox.
Well, what a start there for both sides on the mound. Obviously, the 2 runs there early on for Brantford didn't take too long, came both in the first inning. But since then, both teams have done a really good job to lock it down. I've really liked what I've seen from Rodriguez. And after that, remember, he had the mound visit there at the tail end of the first inning, really bounced back, got his stuff back, found his composure. And usually you have a lot of room for error, obviously, in the season series, Brian, when that game turned into, both teams, like we said, combined for 37 runs earlier this year, 23-14. You have room for error, right? The offense and the pitchers know, okay, well, if this game's going to get to double digits for both sides, I can give up a run here and there. But this looks a lot more like that 4-3 victory we saw here in Brantford back in June, where Brantford beat Kitchener. I think the offense for Brantford, it's a different way to play the game, right? Playing from ahead if you're the Brantford offense rather than from behind with a big margin. Often Brantford's able to make up these big gaps at the beginning of the game, really get hot inning over inning. The question is today, a little more conservative. They know Connor's giving them not just effective, but quick innings. What mental block does that maybe take off Brantford's offensive production?
Well, when you're able to get momentum is a beautiful thing in sports, and it has a bit of a different meaning with every sport. But in baseball, momentum is very much a mindset. And so when you're going out and playing defense and your pitcher is throwing strikes and putting the ball in play, we saw it last inning. Beautiful double play after a leadoff walk, then a third, I think it was the first pitch of the at-bat with Ibarra, the ground ball to short, and then I think it was 2 pitches later, the ground ball to third base. And so when you're throwing strikes, and that one catches the outside corner for Lawson, when you're throwing strikes, you get your defense on the balls of their feet. They're active. They're bouncing. When you throw a lot of walks, and we've seen that in the past in this ballpark, then you kind of sink into the sand, so to speak, and you become somewhat lethargic. And so when you are playing better defense because your pitcher's putting the ball in play, you're right back up there at the plate, and another nice pitch there inside, and it's 1-2 to Lawson. And so when you are back up and continuing that momentum, that's what helps get the sticks going, although it hasn't really translated to that yet. It will. Nice take there by Lawson for 2-2. So, one thing that we've also noticed in the case of the Brantford Red Sox is that the later the game goes, the tougher they are with their at-bats. They really do grind out at-bats near the end of the game.
And they've done a good job at that early as that one becomes a full count on the pitch, low and inside. And you talk about the defense's feet sinking in there, but the one thing about today here, Brian, this is the second time this season the Red Sox have played the same infield defense back-to-back games. So continuity may be a rare opportunity here.
That's a great point. 3-2 pitch outside at the knees, fouled off to first base, panic time. Managed to miss my truck, so, that's, I'll buy you a drink after the game, Kitchener Panthers, if you manage to miss my truck the whole game. 3-2 pitch again. Line drive out into right field. Going back, Brody Black forward and makes the catch on the run just as he hits the warning track there. Lawson really jumped all over that pitch. It caught a little bit too much of the plate, but a nice first step and a drop step by Brody Black to get himself on line. In fact, he reacted so quickly, he almost overreacted and almost overran that ball. So one thing we know about Brody Black, he's not known as a speedster, but once he gets going in a straight line, he can pick him up and lay him down pretty good. So that line out to start the inning, sure helpful that he happened to hit it in Brody's general direction. And the first pitch to Matt Fabian is outside and low for ball one. Good pitch there, just above the belt, swing and a miss, strike one.
The bottom six here today in the order for Kitchener. Everybody after Malik Williams in the 3 spot here today. 3 on-base appearances for the top 3 in the Kitchener order. None in 9 plate appearances for the bottom 6.
Catches the corner there for 1-2 now. And like I say, I know Matt Fabian well enough to know that he will eventually start hitting. Strike 3 called. Ball got away from Savage, throws out to first base for the second out.
Fabian there on defense playing in the third base position today. Pretty much every game I've seen of the Panthers this season, it's been Yosuke Fuji, the man out there on third base. The question I think for Fabian is going to be, as this game gets later on, can he start getting some of those hard hit liners that feels like Brantford got really unlucky, didn't they, Brian, on Tuesday? A lot of hard hit line balls over the third baseman's head. Today, 3 hits in the first inning all came over in that third base spot. We'll see if Fabian plays a role here later.
Fair enough. So 2 out now for Rafi Gross. Flew out to center field, deep center field, almost to the warning track. Probably if he hits that ball a little more to the right, it carries out of here, but Walker Hultgren tracked it down. And that ball is up high for 1-1. Fabian does play a good defensive third base from my memory. And so, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how the game is going to play out defensively for Kitchener. 1-1 pitch. Fouled off, straight back. Rafi Gross right on it. Seems to be seeing Connor Irvin very well today.
And one of the best things for Connor, again, we talked about the efficiency. It's always talked about in analytics. Third time through the order, what can you do? He may be there in under 60 pitches to that point in the ballgame.
Ground ball down the third base line, just foul. And if I know Tim Holick well enough, he'd have told you it must have been foul because I didn't get to it.
He would say that, wouldn't he?
If it would have been fair, I would have gotten to it. So the count remains 1-2. The big pull there, maybe see a slider. And we do, and it's lined, caught too much of the plate, and lined out to center field. And that is a real action pitch with Gross because he is, as I mentioned, very fast runner. So is Cabral coming to the plate now. So don't be surprised if with 2 out, if the Panthers put a little play on here to try and get some offense going with the top of the order on deck. So a good idea for the slider. However, he kind of left it up a little bit, and Rafi just dumped it into center field. And he will take a big lead, and I don't imagine he'll wait long to go. And he bluffs, and Cabral fakes a bunt, and I'm not going to lie, by everybody's reaction there, I kind of felt like Gross was supposed to go on that pitch. With the fake bunt by Cabral,
Almost tripped over his ankles out there on the second step off the base. I think he did get the sign.
Probably should throw over. He's probably going to go, oh, he holds. Oh, and a nice play by Savage.
Oh.
Go Gadget glove side. Manages to come up with that ball that was at least 2 feet outside.
My goodness.
And now we have a 1-1 count. Sorry, Marshall.
No, just blown away by what we just saw.
So we keep an eye on Gross. Here he goes. Yep, runner goes. Popped up, foul, out of play. Would have been a perfect time to throw over there because Gross jumped as Irvin was in his set position. Gross jumped a little bit, and they would have had him caught off of first base if he'd caught it and thrown over. So he's going to have to change his cadence up a little bit to try and stop him from getting a really good jump. And we'll do the 1-2 pitch. Runner goes. Ground ball to short. Charged by Cantor. Going to be a tough play and no play at all. So he tries to throw back to second and get Gross off the base, but that's the bottom of the Kitchener Panther order. Speed kills, man, and they had Gross and Cabral who can both fly. And a lot of other guys in this Kitchener lineup, if they hit that ground ball to Jacob Cantor, they get thrown out at first. But Cabral's so quick, he didn't even warrant a throw over there. So tough break for Connor Irvin, who made a very good 1-2 pitch, got his soft contact. But the ball was hit in a spot where they could not get an out. So 2 out still is the good news. The bad news is back to the top of the order with Yasvani Penalve, who is 1 for 2 on the day, singled into left field in his first at bat, and flew out to left field to Christian Kuzemka in his second at bat. So pretty big spot here. See if Connor Irvin can get out of this jam. Took a little bit off that one, trying to get Penalve aggressive to swing over top of it. To no avail. Ball 1.
Looking here at the Kitchener order, 6 guys with 5+ steals here on the season. 2 of them on the base paths, each with 7. Expect some speed here if we see a hit.
Ground ball up the middle, directly toward Cantor. Oh, and was unable to get him at second.
And Penalve
due to the
kind of
speed of Cabral,
that
and
one
then
out.
Penalve did not hustle down the line. If he comes flying out of that box, although I got to say, he is clutching. He looks uncomfortable. It looks like his right leg is uncomfortable, and that he may have done something to himself coming out of the batter's box because he is not moving real well right now.
Yeah, something in the lower leg. He's kind of trying to put specifically weight on that ankle, it looked like, but you saw there on your screen, didn't really run the play out. Like you say, Jacob Cantor looks like he's going to beat out just the run to second. He wants to step on the bag. We talked about how fast Cabral is. Cabral beats him there, and then he has to make that last-minute urgent throw. He would have been probably safe by a step or two with Penalve if he went. Does show a little bit of discomfort, but we saw a little bit of that on Tuesday, too. A couple guys just not quite, whether they're not able to or they don't want to, run it out to first. Another lesson there for the kids at home, like we talked about, you got to run every play out because you never know what's going to happen. Think if he gets on base there and the bases are loaded, how important that would have been for Kitchener.
Well, Penalve's going to come out and play defense.
New man on the mound here for the Kitchener Panthers. It's going to be Evan Elliott, who we confirmed the change we had in numbers there. That was part of the confusion. It is going to be Evan Elliott, the all-star, the man now coming in relief.
He's a big dude, very intimidating presence on the mound. I had the pleasure of watching him throw in Couch a couple of weeks ago, and he just looks like he's 8 feet tall standing up on that mound.
Yeah, what a year he's had. A true workhorse, of course, often a starter here for this Panthers side. Made his first all-star team here this season. And what you're going to get from Elliott, very similar to what you're going to get from Connor Irvin that we've been seeing on the other side of the mound. He wants to pound the zone. He really wants to establish that heater there first and then have the off-speed once he's got the eye angle particularly high. strong with the high fastball. Really elite power hitters could catch up to him. Former farmhand for the Texas Rangers and Toronto Blue Jays. And, of course, the Texas Rangers, they made themselves a pretty good pick a couple days ago. Congratulations to Evan Morrison there of Chatham getting drafted and now called up to the Texas Rangers organization.
Yeah, congrats out to Evan Morrison. I know him. He grew up just down the road from me in Stratford in Mitchell, Ontario. I coached against him when he played junior ball for the Waterloo Tigers and tried to get him on the Panthers in 23 to no avail.
So this will be just the second relief appearance of the season here for Evan Elliott. He did play Brantford earlier this season. That was at home. That was a 6 1/3 innings pitch there for Elliott. 5 hits he allowed, only 2 earned runs there in 6 1/3. I talked about longevity. He's gone 6 innings 4 times this season.
He throws hard. He comes from a high arm slot and has a nice little slider that's got some depth to it as well.
Drops it in there for ball 2 here against Bateman. We talked about Bateman's effectiveness, and now we're seeing the Kitchener lineup towards the bottom of the order start to pick up their steam there, Brian. Nobody on base yet today from the bottom 3 for Brantford. Bateman would love to be the first.
Well, he's doing it the right way thus far. It's 3-1. Elliott tried to bust him in there, just went a little bit too far in. As we mentioned, Bateman has had a really nice run the last month or so. He hit a line drive out to third base last time up. Elliott comes into his kitchens, gets a swing and a miss, and the count moves to 3-2. See some action down in the bullpen in Brantford. Nobody's actually throwing yet, but it's getting some movement there. Got a foul ball at the plate.
Another one off the mast there of Ibarra, the second one he's taken to the face here just in this game. Just in 2 innings even. He's
indestructible, that dude, man. It just, like I said before, it just doesn't seem to matter how many times he gets hit. It just never seems to have a lasting effect on him. Even when we were playing 3 games in 4 days, day game after a night game, he'd be out there. Even when we try and give him a DH, no, I'm good, I'm catching. Here's the pitch.
Take that one off the leg there on the hop.
Yeah, it's Lucas is doing damage to everybody back there. He got Ibarra with the first one, and he got himself with the second one. If I'm umpiring, I'm nervous.
More important, that's well put. He's the only guy who hasn't taken a ball. Yes, 8th pitch of the at-bat here. My goodness.
Yeah, if I'm the plate, I'm feeling like it's my turn. I'm thinking, you know what? How about you maybe put one in play for us, Lucas?
Like Brian's truck. He's on borrowed time.
So we'll do the 3-2 pitch again. And he yanks it glove side. Great at bat by Lucas Bateman. An 8-pitch walk. And I tell you what, that's something you really love out of the 9-hole of your batting order when you got a guy at the bottom of the order pulling off an 8-pitch walk like that, man. That's what makes your lineup tough when the guys at the bottom of the order, not necessarily hitting, but tough outs.
That's why we always use the term productive outs, and that's what you want, especially at the bottom with the less proven bats. We know Lucas Bateman has one, but that's why Dionis Rodriguez comes out of this game so early. It's because Brantford does such a good job on long counts.
So speaking of guys that go deep into counts, here's Jacob Cantor, top of the order back up. He's 0 for 1 with a walk, grounded out to second base on an inside out swing. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Of course, the man from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Want to say hi to the entire Cantor family. Of course, had the pleasure of meeting his mom, Lisa, a couple weeks ago at a game. Really cool that they were able to come down, make the commute. They always love watching in, so I want to say hi to them. And Jacob, always such a positive guy. He was in great spirits this morning.
Fouled back to the fence for 1-2. I agree. I got a chance to meet his parents, too. They're wonderful people. Had a real nice chat with them, and fellow Philadelphia Flyers fans. So,
oh, boy.
Yeah, go Flyers. So 1-2, nobody out. Bateman at first. Popped up and fouled off at the plate there. And the ever-present Cassidy Watt taking care of yet another foul ball. He's fielding almost as many balls today as he does when he's playing.
Somebody always seems to in that Brantford dugout. I swear we have the busiest bat boys in the league, I'll tell you that, because many a pitch go into that beautiful new fencing here at Arnold Anderson Stadium's dugouts.
Lined up the middle, soft liner, tough play, and he comes up with it. Scansey catch that soft humpback liner there, and Cantor is now 0-2. That's the first out of the inning.
Scansey's bordering on a psychic there at second. I always love, he's so good at not just that first step to attack the ball that rolls in on a grounder in the infield. He's so good at that first step back over the shoulder. He always makes that catch, and I think the outfielders know it. You always see the center fielder. Today it's Penalve. Whoever it is, they always seem to just give Scansey his room. They trust he knows what he's doing when a little blooper goes out over his head into the shallow outfield.
He's got great range, doesn't he? So I think that is Anthony Porcelato warming up in the Brantford bullpen.
Yes, indeed.
And I just saw Connor Irvin shake hands with the manager, so I think we're going to see a new arm in the sixth. And if that's the case, then that is one heck of a job done by Connor Irvin. Excuse me. And if I call him Irvine, I apologize for that, but my doctor's name is Irvine, and so just out of habit, sometimes it slips. So anyhow, 0-2 count to Brody Black. Did not like the call on the second strike, but he's still up there and trying to make something happen with one out. And Lucas Bateman and his leadoff walk still out at first base. Conservative lead for Bateman. Running. Pitches outside, and Ibarra has no chance whatsoever. What a great jump by Bateman there. Timed up Elliott perfectly. Got a quick one step, and as soon as he had that foot in the air, Elliott went to the mound, and off went Bateman, and he stole that easily off of Elliott.
Last time Brantford had somebody walk, then steal a base, first inning when they scored. That was Jacob Cantor who led off the game with that walk on a number of pitches there. Then a swipe a second. He later comes home to score. Scoring position for Lucas Bateman. It's exactly where you want to be with a great hitter like Black at the plate.
Black's worked his way back from 0-2 all the way to 2-2. And a fly ball out to right field, fairly deep. Should be deep enough to advance the runner. Gross makes the catch, throws it back in. Bateman advances easily to third base. And kudos to Brody Black. And this is what we talk about productive outs, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, there are two out, but you move that runner up to third. He had an 0-2 count, got a pitch that he didn't like, bounced back from it. Took a couple of close pitches, got a fly ball out there, moved the runner along, and now anything from a pass ball to a ground ball in which Ortega can leg out, or a line drive single that goes right toward an outfielder that wouldn't normally score a guy from second, that 90 feet could become very important here. So Elliott tries to bust Ortega inside, goes too far in, and it's ball one.
Chris Ortega, a guy that you wish he had one more out if you're him. He can just clobber a baseball, especially if it's a sac fly situation. Unfortunately, with the two outs, won't have a chance to score Mr. Bateman on anything but a hit.
Nice take there on a pitch on the outside slider.
And that's an under-talked about skill, an ability to consistently, if you know you just got to put the ball far, you need to make enough contact to register a sac fly. Certain hitters more proficient than others. Chris is one of them, unfortunately, like I said, not in that situation.
Ground ball pulled foul. Third base side. And once again, Cassidy Watts all over it. Get the impression he's getting paid by the foul ball over there.
Get the impression the whole team is.
He's going to have a whole box of freezies by the end of this game. So it's 2-1 to Ortega. Fouled back over our right shoulders, and it moves the count to 2-2.
Speaking of, there is a freezy for a fan. Or a bag of chips, don't forget. Or a choco bar, I'm being reminded. You got options here at Arnold Anderson.
If you come to the ballpark and you're a young person that likes to run after the ball, you will be paid in food stuffs for your work.
And often I commentate your running if our first base cameraman's looking at you.
Here comes the 2-2. Nice pitch there, busted him in, and a nice job by Ortega to just get a piece of it and foul it off. That's some nice high-level play there. Good pitch by Elliott. Nice job by Ortega to get a piece, and we would do the 2-2 again.
Plenty of work here for the physio for the Panthers. These Red Sox bats not giving the men on the mound for Kitchener any room for error. Another long plate appearance.
Fouled off again. So we will have a 7th pitch of this at bat, and this is not a recording, folks. You know, this has been how many batters. We're going to have to take a count one of these days on how many Brantford batters reach the 7th pitch of an at bat, because Brantford, I think, statistically have the longest games in the IBL.
By almost 20 minutes over the next team.
But a good chunk of the reason for that is their ability to drag out at bats, just like Ortega's doing now. Another foul ball, and we will have an 8th pitch.
It's just unbelievable, and it's one of those things that it's always worrisome, because doesn't it feel like, Brian, when you get this far into a count, it's not just the walk that often goes the hitter's way, but often it is that big hit. You're giving the offense so many opportunities to catch up to your stuff, to see you pitch. If you're Evan Elliott, this is your first time around the order. You don't want to be letting every hitter see 8 of your pitches every time they come up to the plate.
Absolutely, and it's frustrating. It frustrates the pitcher very much when they're throwing good pitches and they can't get you out.
Finally got him on that one.
Well, that was a high slider that just dropped into the belt right at the last second there. Obviously, Ortega disagreed with it, but let me know when that first time you agreed with the third strike. So the end of the day, one man is left on base, no hits, one man left on, no runs scored. We will head to the 6th inning, still 2-0, and we believe a new pitcher is coming in. We'll just get that confirmed for you.
It should be Porcelato, at least that's the plan, and I believe he is starting to make his way out of the bullpen there. If that's the case, Connor Irvin, what a day there for him in 5 innings. Would be on pace, potentially, Brian, to register the win, to be officially designated. Could be his first of the year, 0 for 4 coming into today, just due to the fact he pitches some longer games. Of course, then you're more likely to get chalked up with the losses there. But I'm very curious here down the rest of the way what Kitchener has left in the tank, because I feel like you're on borrowed time. The Panthers, I wrote about it in an article actually online a couple weeks back for them. They are the only team in the league as of 2 weeks ago, I haven't checked since the All-Star break, to score 4 runs in every game. Welland had a game under 4 in the first 2 weeks. London had one under 4 in the first month. Kitchener hasn't been held under 4, to my knowledge, any game this season. Some of that's playing in Couch, a very offensive park, but that's an impressive record, and imagine if Brantford's the team to break it with some of the inconsistency they've had on the mound this year.
Well, that's an interesting stat. I didn't know that one.
That's a weird one, but
for the offensive juggernauts that we have in this league, like London and Barrie and Welland, it's Kitchener that has that kind of consistency. So pretty impressive. And I know Welland and Barrie are both not in that, because I watched Welland and Barrie play to a 3-1 final just last week. So let's talk a little bit about Anthony Porcelato, who had a bit of a rough start, had some control issues at the start of the season, but has been really, really good the last, 3 or 4 weeks or so, and was so strong against London on Tuesday night. So then the other nice thing that having 5 innings out of Connor Irvin does for you, if you're going to try and get out of here, if you're unable to score any more than you scored, you've got those names lined up there. Think about tentatively, you think Porcelato for 2 innings, Holland Craig coming in for the 8th, and then Jorge de la Cruz for the 9th, and you are all set to go there. So that streak of 4 runs for Kitchener is going to be under a bit of duress if the Brantford bullpen brings its A game with them for the rest of this ball game. So we are in the top of the 6th inning, 2-0 Brantford, and we've got Petey Kiefer up for his 3rd at bat, and he is 0-2. He flew out to right field, grounded out to second.
Well, the word of the day for Anthony Porcelato, and a good word if you want to host your own homemade spelling bee, is repertoire. He is a guy that has so many pitches in the works. I don't think there's anything he couldn't throw with good break on it, and he's got that fastball up high, quite a bit less hittable. If all 5 of his pitches are clicking, nobody's catching up to 19.
Having said all that, there's two major ones that he has to make work. The fastball, for starters, obviously, he has to be able to spot that fastball. All of his off-speed stuff, all of his breaking pitches come off the fastball. You throw the fastball for strikes, he has a very good curveball, a plus-plus curveball. Gets one in there, and the count goes to 2-1.
One of his best skills, too, is we don't talk about it much this season, but tunneling your pitches. Release point, always in the same spot, and then having stuff look very similar. Like you say, why is curveball so effective? Until halfway to the plate, it looks just like his fastball, and he throws it quite hard.
There it is there.
And you see on your screen, he releases it from the same point. There's no obvious tell in his motion that shows he's going to throw off speed. The slider as well, similar to Jose Arias, why he was so effective on Tuesday. That slider and the fastball, because he throws both so hard, you don't know what it is until it has that nasty break.
2-2 pitch, swing, and just got a piece of it to foul it off. Nice job there by Kiefer to stay alive. When Porcelado throws that hard fastball, and he throws it over 90. The curveball works so well because you give up on it right away. Base hit up the middle. Oh, no, it isn't. Picked up by Cantor. Throws it away. And nice job there to pick up the overthrow. I'm sorry. That was premature. That ball was going up the middle, but Cantor came out of nowhere and fielded that. I can't believe he got a piece of it. Knew he had to hurry. I'm not sure if he gets Kiefer either way, even with a good throw.
Would have been close.
But what a pick that was. Holy moly. I thought that ball was headed up the middle for sure.
I always talk about the worst thing to be if you don't want errors is a great fielder, because not many players that short get to that baseball to just get the glove on it initially. The throw obviously misses, the frantic play, doesn't quite get the clean look on it with the arm, but just a ridiculous defensive fielding play that shouldn't be overlooked just because it was closer to the first base grandstand than the man on first.
So nervous moments here for the Brantford Red Sox. Starts him off with a curveball, just misses up. You don't want to make a mistake to this fella, obviously, or this is going to be a tie game in a big hurry. But you do have to be aggressive with him because you can't get two on with nobody out with the rest of this order coming up. Another curveball for Malik Williams, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, mistake to Malik Williams usually ends up as a baseball in a different area code, different postal code, probably in a backyard down the street.
I was just going to say, someone owning a house down the street there is going to get a new souvenir. So 1-1 pitch. Little bouncy at first, doesn't go. Another breaking ball. They don't seem real interested in throwing fastballs to Malik Williams. 2-1 count now. I think a properly placed fastball up and in so we can't get a chance to extend those arms might be a smart play here. Fastball just misses outside, and we talked last at bat about, a big guy that likes to hit home runs, but also has a very good eye at the plate, knows his strike zone, and will take a walk. And so Porcelado has kind of worked himself into a bit of a corner here. He's got a good runner on first base. He's got a dangerous hitter at the plate, and nobody out in a 2-0 ball game. That ball is called for a strike.
Oh, through the back.
And Malik is not happy.
Wow.
There was a lot of tail to it. I will say this, Porcelado basically throws a flat fastball, not a lot of movement to it, but that one had a fair amount of tail to it, almost
really
like
did.
It was a two-seamer.
That's one of those ones that you see the strike zone on TV at the front of the plate, but by the time it gets in the glove, it has so much movement back behind. A little bit of a nice spot there by Savage, but that was a nice piece of movement there from Porcelado.
Runner goes. Fly ball out into right field. Not deep. He's over at second base. He's got a chance to throw him back out at first. He will throw, but he gets back just in time. He kind of took his sweet time getting back, and the throw came in a lot quicker than he expected. Nice job by Brody Black to get it back in, and a really nice job by Anthony Porcelado to get back, to get an out after being down 3-1 there. And now you've got Junior Ibarra up, who, as we saw in his last at-bat, is a prime double play candidate, and Porcelado has set himself up. A good curveball gets a ground ball and gets him out of this inning. I would be shocked if Kiefer didn't run here. Nice pitch there, strike one.
Junior, well, obviously one of the best behind the dish, obviously very consistent at the plate. A veteran of this league, is a potential double play candidate, although you do have the pretty quick runner of Kiefer there at first, so it'll have to be a tough play in that particular situation.
Runner, ground ball, the hit and run was on there. If they call a straight steal, they probably get it. He got a great jump, and that ball was a breaking ball down low, which would have been really tough for Savage to get a good throw off right away. They almost surely would have stolen that base. So it might be a good time to throw over, just in case Kiefer is thinking of running again. They really want to get a run out of this, and they want to stay out of the double play. So it'd be probably running here, I would guess. Not, though. Strike three. Nice pitch there on the outer part of the plate. And there now is 2 out. And Zane Scansey coming up now, trying to be a productive member of the Kitchener batting order. It's starting to get late, and they need to start putting some hits together to try and get a run. But the Brantford pitching staff thus far has kept them very, very quiet. So we'll see if Kiefer runs this at bat. Well, they're going to give him a base there. Ball in the dirt. Savage, good effort to try and knock it. He got probably 80 or 85% of that ball, but it managed to squeeze by and turns into a wild pitch. So now with the good wheels at second base, a ground ball base hit here will almost assuredly score a run. This is the part where you're telling your infield, get dirty, knock a ball down. Even if you don't get the out at first base, you'll save a run. Porcelotto really leaning back and throwing hard here.
You talked about there the value of that 3-1 comeback against Malik Williams to get back into relatively weak contact out there to right. That composure, I think, is one very obvious component he's been working on at the game-ready facility. He looks more ready. He looks to be seeing the game further ahead, and he looks more confident in his stuff. That composure helping him work at a rough spots.
2-0 pitch, low for ball 3. Trent Lawson, the first baseman, is on deck. This is another situation where you have to be careful. You don't necessarily want to give in here and just pump one down the middle to get back, because if he's got a green light and he puts one through the infield, it's going to score a run. So if you end up walking him, you have an empty base at first and go after Lawson, which kind of looks like when a 3-0 curveball there, kind of looked like they were thinking the same thing that I was.
So that will become the 12th walk of the season there for Zane Scansey. They now have 2 base runners to Kitchener, 9 stolen bases this year for Kiefer, 9 as well there for Scansey. So you're gonna get likely an extra bag at both spots if Trent Lawson can put something in play. 0 for 2 though so far today. Both balls out to Brody Black and right. 1 a flyout, 1 a hard hit liner.
So Greg Rapp out to the mound to have a visit with Porcelotto, maybe just to now that he's faced, this is the 5th batter he's faced this inning. And so just come out and give him a bit of a breather. Slow the heart rate down a little bit. Come back out and go right after Lawson. Now Lawson is a dangerous hitter. Also has pretty good wheels, like so many guys in this lineup.
We have a quick moment here where we're getting set up. In just a few moments, we can take a look at the out-of-towns here around the league. Again, 2 other games happening today on the Sunday afternoon. Slight bottom of the second. The Toronto Maple Leafs beating the Barrie Bay Cats. Talk about a gutsy ball club getting back in the year. Toronto is starting to find their form in the late season. Only 2 innings in, but good start against Barrie.
So here we go. Pitch up. Ball 1. Yeah, Toronto's a dangerous team. I mean, we've said it many times. It doesn't matter what position the team is that you're playing. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. Here's the 1-0. Curveball in for a strike. Nice pitch there. Quite often, if you're having trouble with your mechanics, having trouble locating the fastball, quite often the curveball is the way to go. Throw the curveball, and just to help find that release point out front. So 1-1 now. Big at bat here for Kitchener.
And we talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs as he goes down 2-1 here at the plate. The Maple Leafs have really been the only kryptonite consistently for Kitchener this year. Kitchener, the only team to have played the Maple Leafs this season, not to have beaten them yet in a game. They're 0-2. They'll have a chance to change that, will Kitchener, on Thursday night. Oktoberfest in July happening at Jack Couch Park. I'm going to be there because I love me some lederhosen and a soft pretzel.
Fair enough. 2-1 pitch, and I think that's fouled off. Yeah, it is. And unlucky for Lawson, that pitch tailed right in on him. That's that two-seamer again that he used on Malik Williams. And it tailed in so far, Lawson just did a little check swing and got a foul off. And unfortunately for Andrew Savage, he was the recipient of that foul tip. But much like his counterpart, Junior Ibarra, tough dudes take foul balls. So 2-2 pitch, an opportunity to get out of the inning here. 2 on, 2 out. 3-2 now, and the unfortunate thing about 3-2 is that now the runners will be going, so anything goes in the gap with all the speed on base. First of all, a single, you're going to score easy from second base when you're running on the pitch. Anything goes into the gap, they could very well score 2 here and tie the game up. So the bounce swinging on this pitch here in the top of the 6th inning, already a huge pitch, 3-2 pitch. Here we go. Swing and a pop-up over to the right side. It's going to go out of play. And we will do it again.
May see somebody there warming up in the bullpen. Sorry, Brian. We may see Jose Arias, the man, potentially getting set. Of course, did pitch in the last game for Brantford, but thanks to the smoke coming down from northwestern Ontario, that was 5 days ago the last time he pitched. Maybe well-rested enough to come in, do an inning or two here, and to potentially Jorge De La Cruz.
So we do the 3-2 all over again. Bounces it in, and it is ball 4, and the bases are loaded for former Brantford Red Sox player Matt Fabian.
Yes, indeed. Fabian here 0-2 to this point in the day. He's going to be the second hitter here for Kitchener to hit in back-to-back innings after Lawson a moment ago. Fabian lined out hard to short in the second, struck out there in the 5th, unless he's been replaced.
Yeah, we've got a pinch hitter here. And it looks like Porcelato's done. We're going to go to the bullpen.
So this will likely be Arias joining on the mound. And the man at the plate now is Yosuke Fuji, the gentleman I mentioned a little bit earlier, often the third baseman for this team. So they're going to make the swap here in Kitchener, whether it be, I would guess, likely for the defense, but also potentially for some of the struggles Fabian's had here early on. As we see Porcelato exit the ball game, leaves a couple on base here. Hopefully, as it is Jose Arias coming in, hopefully 34 can clean it up, but not a bad appearance for Porcelato. Just lost his command a little bit.
Yeah, he had himself 2 outs and then walked the next 2 hitters. And, you know, after Kiefer stole second, we got into a situation there where he had 2 strikes on both those hitters and walked them both. So it's a tough situation for Porcelato, who has really had a nice bounce-back stretch there over the last month or so.
Just want to take a moment to thank everybody watching out there in the chat. We've had some great support here today. We can only see you guys on YouTube. Nobody on CBL TV can comment, but great support here as always. Love having the Kitchener Panthers fans get to join us on the broadcast here. For Brian and myself, it's the 2 of us and our awesome gentleman Sebastian here, our awesome volunteer game day and on the broadcast side. We're shorthanded here today. Hopefully it's hard to tell, but we love having you guys in, and we hope you're enjoying watching the game, and you're about to see one of the most what's the term, Brian? Revitalized arms in the Canadian Baseball League here now. A guy who's looked very effective his last couple appearances.
Well, he certainly came in. I remember his first appearance in this league this season was out in Chatham early in the season. And his arm did not look like it normally looked. I watched him pitch in London back in the day when he was one of the best arms in this league. It just didn't seem to be the same guy. And he had a couple more starts. It didn't really work out too well. But as the season has gone on, he's been into the indoor facility. He's been on the table and just getting that arm strong again, healthy. What was the term we used? Scapular release or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Something that freed up his shoulder and really got his arm going. And this is truly one of the best sliders in this league. And so going to be a very interesting appearance here. Now, Jose has had a little bit of control problem, but he sure ironed that out. It doesn't really reflect 5 walks in 20 innings. He just seems to – he's had trouble with 2 strikes. He's been one of those pitchers who will get ahead of a guy, get 2 strikes on him, and then just not have that put-away pitch. But with the return to form of that devastating slider of his, the last couple outings have been exactly what the doctor ordered and exactly what the Brantford Red Sox thought they were getting when they hired him on this season. So it's a tough play here for him to come in with the bases loaded, 2-0 lead. Fast runner at the plate, not a tall guy either, so a smaller strike zone, and here we go. So fastball up and out. And really the base on balls has been the undoing of this pitching staff all season long, going back even to last season. And so, all the fans in the stands are just yelling, listen, go right at him, throw strikes, make him put the ball in play. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Catches the top of the zone, strike 1, 1-1. And the nice thing about Arias, if he can get himself in a situation like this, especially if he gets ahead of the count, he can drop that hammer in, and that's a really, really tough pitch to square up on. Might see it right here. Fastball outside with some tail on it. Really nice looking pitch there. So now 1-2. He's got himself ahead. And like I said, this is a situation where this 1-2 count is where he loves to use that slider, and he will use the strike to ball pitch. He can, you know that Andrew Savage is going to be ready for that, ready to bounce back there in case it goes into the dirt, and he's got to block it. Here's the 1-2. Fastball again. He's pretty wound up. There's a lot of life to that fastball, isn't there, Marshall?
There certainly is. You got a little bit of room to play with if you want to, practice some stuff up top, practice that slider inside on the lefty. But Yosuke Fuji, 33 strikeouts. That's second in the league. You know he's gettable. You got to get out of this spot if you're Arias.
There's the slider for swing and a miss, strike 3, and the Brantford Red Sox are out of it. Great job by Jose Arias, who started with a ball but went right back at him, got a swing and a miss, and we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the score remains 2-0 for Brantford.
Yes, indeed. We turn it back over here to Evan Elliott, who's going to come in for his second inning here in relief. It's going to be Tim Holick, Andrew Savage, Christian Kazemka, the 3 up here for the Red Sox. And we're going to see what's left in the tank here, because we've gotten to that point in the game that, well, the Red Sox are often, like I talked about earlier, Brian, they're often still on the comeback. They're often still on offense trying to make up a gap and make up a deficit. Do you kind of play smart and just try to you put stuff in play, maybe give your pitchers time to rest? What's the thinking man as a former bench coach? What's the bench coach approach when you're down 5 runs versus here where you're up 2 runs late? How does that differ with what you tell your offense?
Well, your offense has to have a philosophy, and it doesn't matter the score. If you're going to have a philosophy of being tough outs and getting deep into counts, that's a situation. Now, in a case here, you've got Elliott who came in for the 5th inning. You're not really trying to burn a pitch count on Elliott because he could go the rest of this game, realistically speaking. So at the end of the day now, we're looking at tack on. Tack-on runs are the most important runs that you can score. They got a 2-0 lead. They scored them in the 1st inning. Now is when you need that tack-on, and that's how you can mentally take a team out of a game. 2-0 lead. They just had the bases loaded. They came very close to scoring. So now you've got Holick, Savage, and Kuzemka, I think, coming up. And so just get one here. Tack a run on and make it 3-0, because that lead will look very, very big, especially when we're headed to the 7th inning.
Well, you talk about Elliott has a very good chance to go the rest of the way in this ball game. I don't think Brantford minds that, because I think his approach, he wants to put stuff in play. I think the offense feels good about trying to catch up to him, and there are some pretty dangerous relievers there down the order in Kitchener that could appear late. I know it doesn't always look like it on the stat sheet because of the Jack Couch effect, similar to playing at Coors in the MLB, but don't count them out, because there are some guys here that will provide a very different look than the way Elliott pitches. Although Elliott, when you want a workhorse, when you want a guy to go deep into games like a Halden Craig, Elliott's the kind of pitcher you want for the job.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, when you're facing a club that goes deep into counts like the Brantford Red Sox lineup does, a pitch-to-contact hitter is the best guy to combat that. So the first pitch to Holick is a slider catching the outside part of the plate for strike one. So a lot of times a power pitcher will want to go and strike guys out, and Brantford hitters are going to foul pitchers off, but Elliott is a guy who wants you to put the ball in play. He's going to throw strikes, he's going to fill up the zone, and he wants you to put the ball in play. And generally speaking, that's, Brantford hitters are this lineup likes to get deep into counts so they can see everything that you have to throw and can start playing along like I do, where they try and assume what pitch is coming next, a pitch in a spot. So when you're throwing nothing but strikes, eventually you got to get hacking and get one in play. 0-2 pitch, fouled off to the right side, and we would do 0-2 over again.
That was the voice of a man looking at his truck, ladies and gentlemen, making sure nothing.
It's tough to articulate my amount of fear that I'm feeling right now because I'm in a really, really bad spot. So 0-2 pitch. Popped up on the right-hand side, short right-hand field, and Scansey very casually comes over and makes a basket catch there. And that's a nice set of hands that dude has.
Well, I talked about the confidence and the kind of the trust he generates from his outfield a little bit earlier. He's similar to Kitchener's Jacob Cantor in a lot of ways. When Cantor calls off a ball, you trust him because you know he's the quarterback of the infield. Scansey, which is more rare, I think, for a second baseman than a shortstop, he has that reputation here on this team. He very rarely is going to make a routine error out there going back for a baseball. Usually the outfield just lets him take it.
Well, and he has such great range, too. You'd almost think that's the kind of guy who would make more errors because he gets to balls that a lot of guys don't. Kind of like Jonah Weisner, who's got all kinds of range down in Welland. You would think the guy would make more errors because he gets to more balls, but that's just not the case.
Yeah, I would say to most people in the Canadian Baseball League, if you're a fan, trust the eye test for defense rather than errors. It doesn't always tell the full story.
Ground ball down to third base. Picked up by Fuji, throws it across the diamond. And that's actually Josh Williams out at first base now in place of Trent Lawson.
Yeah, good depth for Kitchener, not just on offense, but on defense. Lots of capable guys in the field there. I think Lawson, we talked about earlier, probably gives you a little bit more range with the step off first. But at this point, Brian, you just want the pop, right? You want the offensive upside when you're down 2 runs late in the ball game. Yeah,
absolutely. Josh Williams is a good defender as well. He's not just a guy that they're bringing in to club a home run. He's a good two-way player, good sound baseball player. So that brings up Kuzemka for the third time. He's 2 for 2, an RBI double in the first and a base hit in the third inning as well.
This is that one a little bit wide off the plate. Got a pretty favorable call on the outside. Did Kuzemka the first time. That one a little bit more of a no-doubter.
And, yeah, Elliott sure looks like he assumed he was getting that call.
Only 2 walks in the day so far by the Kitchener pitching staff.
Good take there by Kuzemka on the outside slider, 2-1 now.
Might be on their way to a third. Kuzemka often likes to swing early, likes to get aggressive there at the plate. We'll see what's in store for him this time. 325 again he's up to at this point on the season. Just 2 walks so far this year. Make that 3. Really nice job there by Christian Kuzemka. He's got, if you want to do an extended cycle, he's got the walk now after the single and the double there earlier. So just productive 3 for 3 here today. Again, you're making that value for yourself once you get below the 5 spot there in the lineup. A little bit of inconsistency today from Ortega and Black up top. They've been made up for by the very valuable guys here at the bottom. And here's a guy, Nick Ian Antone, that you got to feel like you're on borrowed time with, that he hasn't out on base yet today.
Yeah, 0 for 2. Ground out, a pop out and a fly out. He saw Elliott last time they were in Kitchener. Elliott walked him twice in the only 2 appearances he had against him. Ground ball in the right side and through, out into right field. And Kuzemka will stop up at second base. And good call, Marshall. Like you said, man, they were living on borrowed time. We don't often see Ein Tone go over in a game, that's for sure.
Yeah, between the walks and the hits, I mean, obviously now his batting average live with that hit going to be up over 360. So his All-Star appearance was a last-minute substitution for Tim Holick, but it was very well-deserved in his own right. And the thing for me that jumps off the paper, Brian, 14 walks to 10 strikeouts. You just don't see that in the Canadian Baseball League.
No, you don't. He just, he's such, and that's that many walks for a guy who almost never strikes out. He takes a lot of pitches, gets deep into count, and still is able to put the ball into play with 2 strikes. So, swing and a miss on the first pitch to Hulker, and you've got Kuzemka at second, Ein and Tone at first, 2 away, and the Brantford Red Sox. You asked me earlier about my thoughts as a bench coach on the offense. This is a huge situation. This is as big a situation as the top of this inning, where Brantford needs a 2-out hit to get that tack-on run, but a really nice change up there from Elliott, and it's 0-2.
So Walker's going to call time, and I would argue the biggest home run of the season for Brantford was off the bat of number 3. It was that home homer against Welland in that big win to break the head-to-head streak. But I think for Walker, just that consistency, he's got so much room to play with how good he is on defense. You only need a little bit of offensive production to round yourself out as a full player, similar to what we used to talk about with Ethan Paulos.
Nice take there. That's a great point, Marshall. You think of a guy like Gio Morello, one of the best defensive center fielders in this league, and any hits that you get out of a Gio Morello is a bonus when you just want him to play defense. We were saying the same thing about Lucas Bateman when he was out at shortstop there when Cantor was hurt.
Another good take up high, and this time they're going to call him on it. Very similar spot. He's clarifying with the home plate umpire. Just wants to make sure he knows where he missed. Either way, that'll cap off the bottom of the 6th inning.
So we will go to the 7th inning, and we will take a short break here. And we appreciate all of you being here, and hopefully you'll be here when we get back to see the exciting finish to this 2-0 Brantford lead.
Leading out the 7th for the Panthers, the right fielder number 14, Rafi Gross.
And welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen, Arnold Anderson Stadium. As Jose Arias throws the first pitch of the inning, a slider on the outside of the zone for strike one. We thank you again for joining us here in Brantford. Whether you're watching us from Kitchener, Brantford, or anywhere in between, we thank you for supporting Canadian baseballs. The Red Sox, through 6 innings, hold a 2-0 lead here at home as that one chopped foul just past the third base line. We'll say it again, we're a pretty shorthanded operation here today, but Brian, you're doing an awesome job here carrying the slack, and Jose Arias is doing an awesome job carrying the lead here on the offensive side.
Well, he's just taking the momentum from Tuesday night, isn't he? Continuing to throw well, filling up the zone, putting a lot of pressure on the opposing hitters to put the ball in play and barrel him up. So we got an 0-2 count. Oh, just up a little bit. And it runs the count to 1-2. Arias, who not only has that wipeout slider, but actually throws some really nice velo. You got to be careful of Gross here. Big speed. There's that slider for the swing and a miss and one away.
So that's the 5th strikeout of the day there for the Panthers. They've done a pretty good job. I know we've talked a lot about Brantford going deep there in the counts. Kitchener's done a pretty good job at least getting to 2 balls or more. It's just, I think we can agree, Brian, Brantford's execution from a pitching perspective has been better finishing off good counts than we've seen lately.
Well, one thing that we have noticed, haven't we, is that the big difference Jose Arias early and Jose Arias now is his 2-strike pitching. He's getting to 2 strikes. He always did get to 2 strikes, but now he's getting out. So there must have been a double switch go on there as Lawson was out and Josh Williams, who is at the bat now, is batting in Jamie Cabral's spot. Say again.
So Trent Lawson, we're hearing, is swapped out to left field on defense. Williams moves over to first.
And a line drive into left field. And Josh Williams is on with a 1-out single.
No surprise, of course, for a gentleman who just hit in the Chatham-Kent All-Star Game home run derby a couple days there ago. The former London Major, Barnstormer, and Hamilton Cardinal proved his power as many a hitter did in that one, and now he proves his ability to put the ball in play there with his first plate appearance of the game being just the 6th hit here for Kitchener on the day. Not normally too bad here with the way the ball leaves the park and Jack Couch, but tonight with the way the Panthers have kind of lacked any extra base hit pop, all 6 hits are singles.
Well, and that was the case even when they scored 18 in Couch a few weeks ago. They did it without the benefit of a home run.
Right, just
and
death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah, there were a lot of walks and a few hit by pitches and a couple Brantford errors, but there were almost no extra base hits in that game for Kitchener. So swinging a foul ball.
Sun's really starting to come out here at Arnold Anderson here in Brantford. A little bit of cloud cover, but we alluded to it. Beautiful day here today. Really glad that smoke cover is gone. The air quality, I know, it was a question mark there in that Thursday game these two teams were supposed to play. I know it was on the cusp, but I think for the sake of public safety, you always got to lean the way of safety rather than aggression.
So the 1-1 pitch to Penalve. Ground down to first base and just foul. Yeah, I tell you what, waking up today, seeing that beautiful sunny day, it's almost like waking up feeling good after a long illness. You just feel that much better when you see it.
Like a cold's gone, yeah.
And, seeing such a beautiful day like this, this is the day you imagine when you think about a nice summer day, a shirt sleeve weather, a little tiny breeze in the air, some cloud cover, almost no humidity. So we got a 1-2 pitch to Penalve here. Just missed outside.
A little bit of frustration from the home crowd here in Brantford. You can see on the right side of this camera here, plenty of attendance, plenty are passionate, and always a loud fan base in Brantford. Never underestimate the amount of passion there is for a winning ball club here, and I think the Brantford fans smell blood. They know this one is well within reach.
2-2 pitch. Slider lined up the middle, not caught, sorry. went right into the glove of Bateman, and he couldn't hang on. He had an easy double play. He had Josh Williams caught off the base, and Bateman could not squeeze the ball. What an unfortunate break for Lucas, and you could tell he is very disappointed in himself. He knew they were out of the inning there. It was a hard hit ball, but it was right at Lucas. Lucas had to get low to catch that ball, and it really looked like there was a hole in his glove. It went right through. And, even if it pops out, you'd think it would pop out closely enough to get an out. Josh Williams does not run real well. He had time to make a play at second base, but the ball just carried on right to the edge of the infield. And Lucas Bateman had no play, and there's an attempted bunt by Petey Kiefer.
That's an interesting position, and we talked about butterfly effect moments. Brantford fans will remember on Tuesday. Remember that Ryder Hancock walk late in the game, top of the ninth inning, that eventually led to London winning the game, walking it off with that, or not walking it off, but the big run at the end of the ninth inning. That's kind of the spot we could be in with that error. That could have been out of the inning.
Line drive to first, and safe at first. I tell you what, if Ortega goes and just tags the runner, he might get it out there, but your first instinct is to dive toward first base. What a great piece of base running by Penalve to get back there. It would have been easy for your first step to head towards second base. Just a great job of base running by Penalve there. That should have been an easy double play. So Kitchener living on borrowed time here. They should have been a double play on the previous play, could have been a double play on that play, and yet 2 out, 2 on, and here comes big Malik Williams, who could knock one out of here and give Kitchener the lead here in the 7th inning.
And what's your reward for all the shoulda, woulda, coulda double plays? The bat of Malik Williams now at the plate.
Slider into the gap. That's trouble. That could score 2 runs here. And 1 run will score for easily, and stopping at third base and nobody at first base to cover up a throw. And we have runners at the corners, and it's now a 2-1 game. And like I said, you just let a team hang around, and eventually they're going to take advantage of it.
Well, my goodness, it is like clockwork when Malik Williams gets in a big position here in these spots. It's why he's in a lot of people's consideration for the MVP of this league. You need to consider not just the moments that a player, or not just the amount of hits a player registers, but the moments they get them in. Malik always comes up in big spots. Now Kitchener's on the board, and it's like speaking of the World Cup as the final goes on actively. It's one thing when you see the ball go in the goal. It's very important for a striker. I think for the Kitchener offense to just put a run up on the board in Brantford in a park you've had a hard time hitting in this year. I think that might be the start of a waterfall here. Jose's really got to lock this one down.
Runner. Pitch is taken for strike 1, and no throw down from Savage. So that is the one thing with Jose Arias, is not real good at holding runners on. Junior Ibarra 0 for 3, fly out to center field, grounded into a double play, and struck out in his last at bat. And they're going to have to get aggressive on him and get this guy at the plate. A swing and a foul ball and another slider, and that's the one thing that we know is that Arias loves to throw the slider to the right-handed hitter.
So Matteo Zeppieri is now pinch running for Williams. Not a huge surprise, especially with how important each run could be. He could represent the go-ahead run here, and Zeppieri leads the league in stolen bases, so not surprised to see he's the guy here.
Oh, and a foul tip. Nice job by Ibarra to get a piece of that one and stay alive in this at-bat. I will say only this, though, Marshall, that I am a little bit surprised is that we'll see if Malik Williams' turn at bat comes up in the 9th inning.
It's a good point.
Zeppieri is a bona fide player in this league and has spent a lot of time in their lineup, but he's certainly not a Malik Williams. And so time will tell if that spot comes around again in the order, and I still don't see any action in the Brantford bullpen. Now, this is not on Jose Arias. That's an unearned run that came in. But still, they've got big arms down in that bullpen, and Brantford needs wins.
They need a strike right here.
Something outside slider-ish is probably going to get the job done. Fastball popped up to the right side, and it's head to the fence, and it is out of play.
You make the really good point about Matteo Zeppieri. He's a fascinating profile that we'll talk about a little bit later in the game. How about a guy, Brian, 220 average, but .927 OPS, 26 walks to 24 strikeouts, and I said most stolen bases in the league. I'll correct myself, 20, which would place him second behind Daiki Abe. But my goodness, that'll be an interesting spot. If he comes up in the ninth, Zeppieri, an on-base machine.
So it's still 0-2. Slider in for strike three, and Ibarra knew it. Beautiful. He threw it right at Ibarra and curled it in for what we call the front door slider and gets the strikeout looking. And Jose Arias gets out of the inning with only the 1 run and damage. So we had 2 hits, 1 unearned run, 2 left on. And at the 7th inning stretch, it is Brantford 2, Kitchener 1 in a game that both teams very much need here. And so it looks like Elliott will come back out for another inning. And I think we have
it's going to be Bateman, Cantor, Black.
And then top of the order coming up. So it's go time for the Brantford Red Sox, who need to get that run back and get themselves some breathing room. And I'm just going to keep an eye down there at the Brantford bullpen. Now, I know that Jose Arias has the arm to get through another inning, but they've also got Halton Craig down there, and, of course, the closer, Jorge de la Cruz. And when you think about it, that is now 9 hits for the Panthers, and they only have the 1 run. So the Brantford pitching staff has done a good job of getting out of Dodge.
So you talk about it. Evan Elliott going to come back. Is the, like we said, the real workhorse, usually the starting rotation, let alone making his second relief appearance of the season. I don't see anybody warming up yet there for Kitchener. Now I believe I might see an arm starting to get hot. So you always like to have the backup plan when it gets this late in a close game, don't you, Brian? You always want that kind of safety blanket if Elliott starts to lose his stuff. Now he is going to be going through the lineup for the second time.
And that, yeah, they've got some good arms down there, and this is, Kitchener's in a similar situation. You're 6 games out of a playoff spot. You're in a 2-1 ball game. This is a game you need to win. This is a game you absolutely need to win on both sides. So both teams are going to do everything they need to get a W here.
No hits yet, but a walk for each of the 2 first gentlemen we're going to see here. Bateman and Cantor, both a walk and a stolen base. Expect them to be active on the base paths, not just to actually steal here. But if Bateman gets on, expect him to just try to keep Elliott's movements, having to consider the runner on first there. If he can get on with a single, I love the chance to just keep it yourself in Elliott's head, as of course he has his back to the first base. See if you can force him into a mistake, having to worry about the steal.
So again, the defensive changes. Lawson now out in left field. Penalve still in center. Gross out in right. Josh Williams now playing first base. And Fuji out at third base. Nice 2-seamer there. Catches the plate on its way by, and it's 1-2.
Lucas lined out pretty hard directly at the third baseman back in the second. That was his only real competitive swing he's tried here today. Been very patient. What does he do on 1-2?
Ground ball hard, goes into the hole, and Petey Kiefer can't come up with it. It's a tough play on his backhand. Bounced off the heel of his glove and out into left field. We'll have to see what the official score gives him there. I'm going to give him, on my card, I'm going to give him a hit.
I'd agree. I don't. A little bit too fast, a little bit too tough of a play to be an error there. Even if he gets a hand on the ball, I think Lucas legs him out at first.
So this is exactly what you're hoping for there. You got a runner on first. You got the top of the order up. And so will Brantford put a play on here? They could steal. They could hit and run. Cantor can bunt. Fuji not really in too tight, almost even with the bag.
Whew, took a big leap, did Bateman off there on first. He jumped out to probably a four-step off the bag hop, and Elliott kind of didn't look like he was ready to take a look. Now he's got to keep himself honest.
Nice pick there by Ibarra, picking that out of the dirt, the ball that bounced. Cantor squared to bunt, but obviously with the pitch out of the zone, he pulled it back.
Here he goes.
And the runner going, and the pitch is, I think he crossed Ibarra up there. There was a breaking ball, and Ibarra jumped up like he was expecting fastball, but that pitch broke like a slider.
Very weird moment. You're right. He set up in the complete wrong spot, had to dive back left for the baseball, and Bateman's second swipe of the day. He's now on second.
So to be honest, at a 2-0 count, and Josh Williams is now playing very deep. I'd still bunt here, but Cantor swinging away.
Now, Jacob's quietly a guy. He needs a big hit here. He's been good as always getting on base. Nobody's more effective when you're there. The batting average has started to slip since the beginning of the season when he started out red hot. Coming back from a bit of an injury that we saw take him out of action. He needs a big at bat here.
There it is.
Might like it out. Not quite in time. Very close play. They had him by about a step and a half.
Great bunt there. And that's exactly what you want. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, one of the best RBI guys they have is Brody Black. And so a great bunt by Jacob Cantor. When you get that free base, then you get the runner over to third with one out. Now the infield has to come in. The outfield still playing very deep, straight away. And the infield in on the grass. Brody Black takes the first pitch ball inside, maybe a little low as well.
After this out, we'll show you the out-of-town scoreboard. There's a particularly interesting score we'll have you see in a few moments.
Slider is in high and tight, 2-0 now, and there's really nowhere to go here. If you don't want to pitch to Brody Black, you get last year's RBI king in Christian Ortega here, but at least you could have a chance to double him up, possibly. Swing and a miss on a hard fastball, 2-1.
Brody Black 0 for 3 today. Did advance a runner there on a fly out into right back in the fifth inning, but another guy here with Cantor. The top of the lineup here for Brantford. We talked about it. If they're going to have a slow start, the bottom's got to do their job to keep up the productive outs. Ian Antone and Bateman have done just that.
Well, he got him to chase on a pitch inside he couldn't do anything with, so 2-2 now, and this has suddenly turned around on Brody Black, who was 2-0, and a couple of good pitches there from Elliott, and of course Black has just got to do everything he can to put this ball in play. With one out, you've got to think the contact play is on, not a real aggressive lead from Bateman. Called strike 3, and it was tied Brody Black up, and that is a disappointing result for Brody, who is normally a very dependable hitter with a runner on third and less than 2 outs, but he got to 2-0 and just was unable to make contact with the ball. So now the pressure is on Ortega to come up clutch with a 2-out base hit here. After having a runner on second and nobody out, now it's a runner on third and 2 outs, and they need a clutch hit from Ortega. First pitch is low and outside.
So ball one there for Chris. Often he's had pitchers, particularly the starter Rodriguez, get ahead with a strike on the first pitch. We'll see what he does here with an advantage count.
Ball 2 in and maybe a little low. Hit well, but pulled foul. That might be, yeah, it was. It was gone if it stayed fair, but it's a foul ball for sure.
Boy, was it. That ball was clobbered to left. Foul. That's in a backyard, just not one of the ones on the street that would be a home run. My goodness. If you want to know why they put him in the home run derby 2 years in a row, that was why.
Absolutely. 2-1 pitch. Got him inside. Ground ball down to third base. Picked cleanly by Fuji. Throws across the diamond to Josh Williams to record the third out. And Brantford is unable to score that run. disappointing indeed, as they have tried to get themselves a little bit of breathing space here. They're going to put the pressure on as Jose Arias comes out for his second inning of work, and we'll see if he can get out of this 8th inning, because you know what happens then. That means Jorge De La Cruz, the Brantford closer, who didn't throw on Tuesday, hasn't thrown in a week, is certainly going to need to throw at some point. In fact, I had heard that regardless of the score, they were going to try and get him an inning in. So he's going to be a little bit rusty because he hasn't thrown in over a week. But I would be absolutely shocked if we didn't see Jorge De La Cruz sometime in the very near future.
Well, as Arias gets ready, and I'd say you're right, there's a very good chance we'll see one of the members of the All-Star team on the south side there, De La Cruz, pitch. Brian, I have something I want to show you. Check your local street, ladies and gentlemen, for cats and dogs dancing in it, because check out the score over in Barrie. Toronto in the top 4 now leads 8-0 over the Barrie Bay Cats. Any given day, Brian, any team, baseball's not played on paper for a reason. Good on the Toronto Maple Leafs offense for putting up that performance.
Well, you just have to take everybody seriously in this league, and that's the hard and fast rule of this league. And I think maybe, I'm not sure who's pitching in that one, but
just about to check.
Bit surprising to me that Barrie doesn't have a run.
Saul Vasquez allows 6 earned runs in 3 2/3.
Wow.
League leader in innings pitched and strikeouts.
Yeah, and we saw him last week here, didn't we?
And he was unbelievable.
He was very, very good against Brantford. So Zane Scansey, the second baseman, leads it off for Kitchener in the 8th inning. He is 0 for 2 with a walk, hit into a fielder's choice to end the first inning. Grounded out to Tim Holick on a nice short hop pick, and walked in his last at bat. First pitch from Arias. Comes in with a strike just a little up. And I believe that is Jorge De La Cruz warming up now in the bullpen. So he will be scheduled for the 9th, but if Jose Arias gets into any trouble in this inning, likely we may see him early in the 8th. But strike one called.
Against
and it's
Scansey.
1-1.
Yeah, he's in an interesting spot here, is Scansey. As he's got Arias, could be the final one to face him. The question is, if you're Kitchener, do you actually want Arias coming out of the game is the question, Brian. I'd almost rather, all right, get him off to a good start, get Brantford willing to let him stay in, because Jorge De La Cruz, I don't care how many, even if he's got to find 6 outs, he's not the guy, the former Panther, that the Kitchener lineup wants to face.
Swinging a ground ball down to third base, picked cleanly by Holick, throwing on the run again, throws across the diamond to Ortega and gets the out. Beats him by a step and a half, and Stansky is retired for the 3rd time today, 5-3 if you're scoring at home. So Trent Lawson, who started at first base and is now out at left field, will come up. And then we will see Puglia, who's in for Matt Fabian. And if one of those guys gets on, it'll be Rafi Gross. Good pitch there to start him off. Fastball at the knees on the black for strike one. Lawson, like Scansey, comes into this at bat 0 for 2. 2 flyouts to right field and a walk. Slider just up. And it's 1-1.
And I want to give a tip of the hat here today, because it hasn't been quite as flashy. Not a lot of back picks attempted. Not a lot of balls he's had to block, which is a very good thing. Andrew Savage has been steadfast. Narrowly a mistake for him as we knock on wood there on defense today.
Slider in for strike 2. Not to mention the go-go gadget glove hand, which he dove to his right and managed to snag a pitch that was a good 2.5 feet out of the zone.
He's got a Halloween costume recommendation from us here in the broadcast booth. Inspector Gadget.
Got his Inspector Gadget overcoat on.
That was before my time.
Slider in, just a little bit outside. Good take by Lawson. Count goes to 2-2.
Scansey now looking at 2-2 here.
very large cloud over top, which has kind of made things a little darker. The sun will be back out momentarily. 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3 right on the black. Lawson disagrees, but looked like a pretty good pitch from our angle. And so now we've got 2 out. And up comes Fuji,
Correct myself. Yeah, that
who
was Trent
struck out in
Lawson.
his last at bat.
We're going through it so quick. This is sometimes I call these games dinner reservation games when you're just flying through the ball game. The pitchers and hitters look like they just want to swing at everything. It's not quite that kind of game here today. But to answer Aiden there in the chat, our good pal and a former broadcaster this season, asking how the air quality is up here today. As that one's put in play, but bunted foul. It's relatively solid here today. I appreciate asking because I thought we were going to be in here earlier this weekend on Friday. That ball game does get called, Brian. It was on the cusp, but it is something you really got to watch out for. I've been doing a lot of reporting on it. I do some news work in the background. Never underestimate when the air quality gets bad like that. Just because you can handle it for a few minutes, when the heat gets up, when the cloud cover comes in, it is a genuinely dangerous position. I'm glad it didn't happen there on Friday, but we are all clear here today.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful day today. 0-1 pitch. Swung and fouled at over the fence to the third base side. 0-2 now. Fuji's first at bat came in against our, Jose Arias and struck out on a fastball up. Will he go back to that high outside fastball that got him in the last at bat, or will he go to the slider?
There you go.
Swing and a miss, and that is a 3-up, 3-down inning for Jose Arias. What a great job in relief for Brantford. Just a fantastic job picking up Anthony Porcelato and then working his own inning here. And now we will go to the bottom of the 8th, and judging by the fact that Jorge de la Cruz, the Brantford closer, is warming up, I would have to assume that we're going to go to him. But before we go to the bottom of the 8th, we will go to a commercial break. Thank you all for joining us, and we will be right back in a moment. And we are back for the bottom of the 8th. Brantford 2, Kitchener 1. Big game for both teams trying to get back into the playoff conversation. Evan Elliott coming out for his 4th inning of work. And he is going to see 4, 5, 6, Tim Holick, Andrew Savage, and Bingo Kuzemka coming up for the Brantford Red Sox.
We talked a lot about what this game means in the big picture for either Kitchener or Brantford to come out of here with the win in a close one. Brantford in particular, if the Red Sox can finish off Kitchener, they'll cut the game and a half gap back to 6th position and put themselves just 5 back of a playoff spot. It's not nothing, but it's certainly more attainable, seeing especially with what the Guelph Royals did at the start of the year.
Line drive up the middle, and Holick starts it off with a base hit. Jumps on the first pitch, a fastball, and ripped it up the middle, just out of reach. A great effort by Scansey, who almost came up with that ball.
There's almost a next man up mentality, not just within the offense, but within the offense and the pitching today. I think it's almost as though Jose, Anthony, and of course Connor Irvin, the starter, they've done their work today here. It's time for the Brantford offense to give Jorge De La Cruz a little bit of room for error in the ninth inning. They're doing just that right now.
Well, and I have figured out that Jorge has not thrown aggressively since the All-Star game, so it's just about time he got some work in.
He did throw aggressively in the All-Star game, though. My goodness.
He was very good in the fourth inning there, where he faced 4 hitters, walked 1, struck out 2. So Holick, especially with his little history of hip problem there, probably not a threat to run. And I don't know if this is a bunt situation, but he will bunt and get a good one down for Savage there. Really nicely done. Nice job fielding his position by Elliott there, and bunt the runner up to second base. So in back-to-back innings, you have a sacrifice situation, and the Brantford Red Sox execute. So they execute the first part of it again. Let's see if they're able to execute the second part of it, which is the actual bringing in of the run. So last inning, they were given the free 90 to move up to second base, and then bunted him over to third, and were not able to get him in. But we'll see if they can do something here with Kuzemka, who has had a very good day at the plate. Yeah. RBI double in the first, and then a base hit, and then a walk in his last at-bat.
He's been only productive here so far today, and that's what they need again here. You'd love a ball in play. Keep an eye out over the heads of the infielders. That's where the Red Sox have had success here today, is just shallow into the outfield.
Fastball hit into center field.
It'll be a close tag up.
Penalve settles underneath of it. Not going to be able to run on that one, not with that arm, that's for sure.
Might have had it. Would have been close there at third.
Never make the third out at third base.
So here's Nick up again, 1 for 3 here today. Pop out a fly out, but did have that big single that unfortunately went no further there, that advanced Kuzemka back in the 6th inning. Does he have one more big swing left in him? Had a homer on Canada Day a few weeks ago. Another could give Brantford some room to play with.
Nice take there on a ball down. Ball 1 to Ian Tone, who is as many would say, right man, right spot here. He's a clutch hitter, patient hitter, and a very good hitter at about a 360 average right now. Elliott may have gotten a call there on a pitch on the outside, 1-1. The nice thing about the fact that there's 2 out is that Holick doesn't need to wait on a line drive or what have you. He can go on the crack of the bat and should get a good secondary lead heading into any potential base hit. Pitch now that is a little too far outside that time for 2-1. As a rule, what I have noted is that Ian Tone prefers the ball in and likes to pull the ball. He doesn't get a lot of hits the other way. When he gets that pitch in, he rarely makes a mistake on it. He hits it hard. Good take there on a pitch just off the plate.
Just missed outside.
So 3-1 now. And so Elliott, facing back-to-back left-handed hitters, will have to come in here and throw a strike to Ian Tone. They really don't want to get inside on him. They're kind of thinking exactly as I was talking about a moment ago, that Ian Tone, it does real damage to inside pitches, and they've been kind of nibbling away at the outside plate this whole at bat.
Elliott's done a really good job so far against the lefties in that bottom corner. Does he try the bottom away again?
Yeah, he does. Only hits a line drive over, and it's going to get down. Penalve comes in. Around third comes Holick. The throw comes home. Not in time. And Tim Holick scores the third run. And once again, Nick Ian Tone clutches up for the Brantford offense.
Captain Clutch is the man who has just been absolutely effective since joining Brantford. A much-needed man at the plate, disciplined, gets counts drawn out, and when they're done, he often executes and finds pay dirt like that. And that moment is so special here for people in the park. The crowd is loud. It's a beautiful day. It's a Sunday. You're at home in a big spot against a team you need to beat. That is a very big moment there for Nick Ian Tone, and Holick coming home with the run.
So now Hultgren, who takes ball 1, 0 for 3, fly out to center field and a couple of strikeouts. Wouldn't be a horrible time to try and steal a base here. Einatone is not known as a base stealer, but actually runs well for a big guy and is a very smart base runner. And I've said a million times, you don't have to be a really fast base runner.
New nickname there for Nick Einatone if you're joining us on YouTube. I kind of like that.
Runner goes.
There he goes.
There's the pitch. In there swinging and
They got him.
Ouch. Oh, okay. The throw got there in good time. Nice play there by, I believe it was Peter Kiefer who got there to take the throw. Nice play on the short hop and get the quick tag on him. I thought maybe with the bounce they wouldn't have got him. But bang play at second base. And that doesn't hurt you. You know what I mean? If you get that stolen base, then you get a runner in scoring position. If not, you've already scored the run. And we are going to see the closer, Jorge De La Cruz.
Well, before we introduce your closer here for today for Brantford, let's first talk about the most prestigious award in baseball. Now, opinions are divided whether this is the most prestigious award in the CBL. For example, everybody says it's the MVP. I say it's Brian's Popeyes Player of the Game. So opinions are divided. Let's take a look, if we can, at Brian's Popeyes Player of the Game here. There it is. There's the man. Brian, tell us a little bit about today's starter, Connor Irvin.
Well, I tell you what, 5 shutout innings, exactly when they needed it against a good hitting team. He went right at them, only walked the one hitter, and that is such a key for the Brantford pitching staff to only walk one hitter. And only 1 strikeout, but he got ahead, made them swing the bats, put the ball in play, only gave up 4 hits. That's 5 base runners in 5 innings, a whip of 1 flat. And that's just a great job by Connor Irvine, who's had a little bit of trouble. And you really would like to see, if you're a Brantford Red Sox fan, you really want to see this save closed up by Jorge De La Cruz so that Connor Irvine can get his first win of the season.
Yeah, we're going to knock on wood for that one, but it would be huge for Connor, a guy who the way he pitches, the way he controls ball games, that he's throwing effectively and he's finding his spot, he easily deserves a win here to this season and would be awesome to see his record get evened up. Again, I talked about the visualization like a soccer player. Seeing the first goal of your season go in, it's the same thing. Put a win on the board, get the monkey off your back, start to rattle off a couple in the season. Connor's got plenty of starts left here in 2026, and to have a win in one of them, I have no doubt would start a cascade effect of more. But Kitchener, here's a gentleman you're well familiar with. The former Panther, Jorge De La Cruz, faces his former ball club at his new home here in Brantford. And the way the crowd's picking up noise, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some excitement for each pitch of this appearance.
So the only thing that is a concern and why that second run is so important is because, as I mentioned, Jorge De La Cruz has not thrown since the All-Star game, which is a full week ago now. And so if there's any rust to shake off, he will have a little bit of leeway there. Just missed outside with that one, maybe a little bit up. If you haven't seen Jorge throw, 90s fastball, slider, and a splitter. Very fluid motion. It doesn't really look like he's putting a lot of effort into it. The ball just explodes out of his hands.
That one low in the dirt there, and I think if you're Jorge here, a very fast base runner like Rafi, you can get away with one. You got a 2-run bit of wiggle room. But coming up on deck here, Brian, Josh Williams.
Yeah, the meat of this Kitchener order coming up now, and so it's important to throw strikes and get them swinging. Unfortunately, a 4-pitch walk, and as I mentioned, a little bit of rust maybe going on with Jorge. But make no mistake, if you're the Brantford Red Sox and you have a 2-run lead in the 9th inning, this is the guy.
And you don't get a break because Penalve's coming up behind him.
And again, we make reference to the fact that Malik Williams is not going to come up fifth in this inning, which time will tell if that's going to be a big situation or not. Off-speed pitch in for strike one. A great pitch there. So Josh runs okay, but not great. So if you can get something off speed to get him to swing on top of him and get a ground ball.
Like that.
That's the nasty one.
A pretty
So 0-2 now. Had Josh kind of stepping in the bucket on that one. You know he wants to hit one out of here and tie this game up. But with 2 strikes, he's just going to try and poke something out there and get on base.
There
Swing and a miss for strike 3. 1 away.
Yeah, Rafi Gross has quick legs out there on first. It's not going to be easy to ground into a double play, but what's an even easier way? Don't worry about the defense doing the job. Just strike a guy out on a hammer curveball.
Well, and here's the thing, too. With how hard Jorge throws, this is Jacob Cantor's bag to cover on a stolen base attempt. I'm not sure if I want to even. I would like to hold position here. You're not really worried about Rafi Gross out on the bases with a 2-run lead. Ball hit well, deep to right field, and foul. My goodness, that might have had enough to get out of here. That was deep, but it's pulled right out of play and just missed the oncoming traffic.
Butterfly effect moment again. If that's 5 feet further left, that's a home run shot that ties this ball game. And very careful. Remember we talked about earlier, Brian, Malik Williams out for a pinch runner of Zeppieri, the on-base king. He's only 2 away in the batting order.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw down to second base, and Gross is in there. Savage overthrew the mark, but again, got a swing and a miss, which is what's really important with a 2-run lead. Like I said, I wasn't even, in my own mind, I wasn't even concerned about anybody going over to cover that throw because you don't worry about a stolen base in this situation. So 0-2 now. You wonder if that splitter's coming. Line drive through the hole into right field. Picked up by Brody Black. They won't chance sending Gross, and why would you? The important runner now is out at first base.
It's so tough, though, because you don't have much room to work with Jorge. I understand he's still on third. He's still in a favorable spot. Rafi's a quick runner. He had a little bit of room. It wasn't quite in the glove by the time he hits third base as he's running around. It's a gutsy one. Maybe I'm over-aggressive. Would have been a chance to maybe send Gross there, but you can understand.
Yeah, like I said, you just can't take any chances on an out at home plate on a run that doesn't matter. First pitch strike to Kiefer. Now the difference with Penalve is difference there that you don't want him stealing second base. And so, as I mentioned, De La Cruz still working out the rust here. Kind of missed its spot with Penalve. Outside, 1-1. The key for De La Cruz is to get ahead with the fastball and start working that nasty off-speed stuff.
Penalve goes.
Runner goes, ground ball. Hit and run was on. Pulled foul, 1-2.
It was a hard glove attempt there by the first base coach for Kitchener. Took a pretty good whack by the baseball as he tried to bare hand that one. It's not as easy as it looks, ladies and gentlemen. Give the pro ball players their credit when they make a bare hand grab. It hurts like stink if you.
It is
ready.
not easy. It got to the point when I was coaching bases that unless it was a bleeder, I just let the thing go by. We got a kid to go run and get that. So the 1-2 pitch. Runner goes. No, he bluffs. Ground ball pulled foul again.
And again, it's not just the stolen base, but you're always kind of keeping the feet moving just to avoid the double play if a grounder's put up the middle.
Well, not only that, you're trying to get the shortstop moving as well. So a ground ball goes to his right, and it might bleed through the infield because you got the shortstop headed towards second base.
PD loves a push grounder.
Runner goes this time, up and out of the plate, and safe at second base.
Very close. Cantor. Jacob tried to spin around and get him on the back tag as he went past. The throw wasn't quite on target, but was close.
Yeah, it wasn't a good throw up and out and to the third base side of the bag, so Cantor had to kind of spin around and get it. And now a base hit could very well tie this game. That pitch was up and out over the plate, off the plate for 2-2. tough out here in Petey Kiefer. Big pitch here. 2-2. Check that. No, he did not go, so now it is 3-2.
Was very close. Hard to tell if he went around. They're going to say no. Full count position here. How much are you worried about a potential walk here, Brian? What are you telling Jorge?
I am just go after this guy here. Swinging a foul off. Make the pitch that gets him out. If you end up walking him, so be it. Keeping in mind, as we said before, it's Zeppieri up next and not Malik Williams.
But again, is that better? Zeppieri, 26 walks. He's been very strong at the plate, consistently finding his way on.
3-2 pitch comes in again. Here we go. Swing and a miss, and he struck him out. That pitch might have been up a little bit. Kiefer's going back to the umpire to find out, hey, did I just swing at ball 4? But under the category of too close to take.
So here's a huge spot because, again, the profile there, Brian, for Zeppieri, so interesting. He's hitting 220 when he puts the bat on the ball. But, again, that huge walk-to-K ratio. Again, you've talked about just go at him. At this point, you have to know if you're Zeppieri, the game is going to be on your bat.
Well, they may put him on here and face Ibarra with the bases loaded. Or we may see a pinch hitter.
Looks like we will be.
So I'm going to go back to the thought I just had and the fact that so Jackson Cook comes in to hit for Zeppieri, and it wouldn't be the worst idea to walk him and go after Ibarra. And I say that very sheepishly because I've admitted many times on this program that Junior is a friend of mine, but he is 0 for 4. Struck out twice. Here we go. Jorge to Cook. Comes in, first pitch strike, so important to get ahead. And it's a tough assignment for Cook because it's coming off the bench and facing an all-star and a closer. It's a tough spot for him. Well, one pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2, and now De La Cruz has got himself one strike away from closing this game off. Tying runs are on and in scoring position.
This is Jackson Cook. He was just signed earlier last week. What can he do here?
0-2 pitch. Popped up in middle of the infield. Who's got it? Lucas Bateman camping under it, makes the catch. And the Brantford Red Sox have beaten the Kitchener Panthers 3-1. The win goes to Connor Irvin, his first of the year. The save goes to Jorge De La Cruz, who struggled a little bit with the rust of not having pitched for a week, but got in there and got the job done. Got ahead of Cook on the 0-2 pitch, threw him a nice off-speed pitch, got him to pop it up, and the Brantford Red Sox get a much-needed victory. They will move to 9-16, and the Kitchener Panthers fall to 10-16. And good job all the way around by the pitching staff. So what a comparison. 2 games in Jack Couch combined for 70 runs. 2 games at Arnold Anderson combined for 11 runs. And what a difference a ballpark makes. Tell you what, when you throw strikes, you keep your runs against down. This is a good pitching staff. They just need to throw strikes. Kudos to the pitching staff. Connor Irvin, to start it off, then Anthony Porcelato, Jose Arias, and then to the closer, Jorge De La Cruz. And Christian Kuzemka gets some face time with the interview after driving in a run in the first inning, going 2 for 2 with a walk, 2 for 3 with a walk. But the player of the game and getting his first win of the season, Connor Irvin. And just a perfect day for baseball here. A small but very boisterous and energetic crowd here. Saw a fantastic ball game, 3-1 game. And it should be also noted that tonight's game is about an hour and 20 minutes quicker than Tuesday night's game. So we appreciate all of that stuff. So good news all the way around if you're a Brantford Red Sox fan. And the Kitchener Panthers will have to bounce back. And Marshall, what a great day here at the ballpark and a great job done. I got to say, folks, what you're not picking up on here on the broadcast, when you're hearing Marshall, he's also the director of the program. He's also putting up some graphics. He's doing all kinds of stuff. Great job by Sebastian putting up graphics as well. Just a great job all the way around, working cameras. We were really short-staffed tonight, but we're really happy to bring you the program. Thank you all very much for joining us. We always appreciate all fans, whether you're a Brantford Red Sox fan, a Kitchener Panthers fan, or a fan of the CBL in general. Thank you all for joining us, and we will be signing off, and we will see you next time on Brantford Red Sox CBL Baseball. Have a great day, everyone.